that said, welcome to JAMUP number 20. I am Mark Thomas. This is MMA superstar Jeff Lights Out Hughes and special guest Evan E-Pac Wiley, a.k.a. Black Dust.
A.k.a. Black Dust, too.
Yeah. And this is episode number 20 of JAMUP.
This is a special episode.
It is.
Yeah. We're going to get, we won't jump too far ahead, but we're going to get more serious this episode. But we're still going to run it like we always do and just bullshit for an hour and a half.
For sure. That's how we do. It's a garbage truck on fire. But an entertaining garbage truck on fire.
That's impressive, 20 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
It's the second best I've ever done when it comes to a podcast. Because Jay and Mark did 40 episodes.
Did they really?
Yeah, well, like I said, 3 of them were best of episodes.
Oh, okay.
But
still,
that's the most we've ever
37
done.
episodes. That's a lot.
But, yeah, JAMUP is going to beat that shit, though. For sure.
We got this for the next lot of years, so.
Yeah.
Not to jump ahead, but that sounds like my days of sobriety. That's the furthest I've ever made.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, by the way.
Thank you.
For sure. I guess we can get right into it. What's been up with Evan is the topic I wrote down.
What's been up with Evan? It's what like 10, 15 people want to know. I didn't want to say the world wants to know.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of going over things. I don't know how much you guys want me to go into detail. I was kind of.
We want you to start from the beginning.
Yeah, as much as you want.
Make sure you put the AHW title in the picture, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we got 2 champs on this episode.
My belt's more impressive.
For sure.
That's probably the most coveted one out of all of us.
See that there?
But yeah.
I guess I could just go through what I was going through with Jeff about the past year, because it's actually right about a year. I'll start the end of December last year. So this is all about my drinking. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, my name's Evan. I'm an alcoholic. There we go.
Hi, Evan.
Hi.
Amongst other drug addictions and things like that. But basically, for the past so many years, I've been having family and friends tell me I need to get help. Especially, like I hang out with Jeff here, and when he tells me I need help, and when, other guys like Jared and Josh tell me I need help, guys that I drink with, and I'm watching them, I've been watching them since I'm in my young 20s, drink and do beer bongs and have parties, and then they're telling me I need help. It's like, I guess I probably need help if I'm going beyond those limits. So, I won't go too crazy in the past, but I've lost numerous jobs and things from due directly to drinking. Some of them because I was drinking on the job, and some of them just because I was negligent and started calling off work because of drinking and things. So finally I lost a job last December due to drinking. Came home from that job just completely wasted because, of course, I went to the bar after I lost the job. Got even more intoxicated. Came home, got in a huge blow-up fight with my parents. At this point I have 3 DUIs. Always back living with my parents in the basement because every time I save up money, you get in trouble, legal trouble, things like that.
It all costs a lot of money, too, because I've been there.
You have a, right?
Yeah, I have one that was might as well call it a super DUI.
Yeah, super. All 3 of mine are super.
Yep. At least you're consistent.
I'm very consistent, always over .2. It's up there. It's bad. But this was kind of like what I thought was the final straw, I guess, this time, because I got in this huge fight. I mean, even going into like religion and things, the things that I was out of my mind drunk. I think it ended with me falling down the basement steps.
Oh, shit.
And landing pretty much on my head.
Damn.
And they said, I don't remember it, but they said I shut up then and went over and went to bed.
Wow.
Yeah, that ended the argument.
You
pretty much knocked yourself out.
Yeah.
Which is probably the last thing you should do right after knocking.
Right after, I could be concussed.
Yeah.
I had a lump on my head the next day, I remember, and that day I told my parents that I wanted help, and I said, okay, I finally was admitting I needed help. I had known I was an alcoholic for a while. I wasn't fighting that anymore. I had been already in and out of treatment, but they were always like forced treatments. Like I went to jail and I went through the AOD program. Am I putting you to sleep?
That's just Walt breathing.
Yeah.
So, I knew when I heard other people's stories, I was like, that sounds a lot like mine. I'm obviously an alcoholic. But the thing with this disease, and I call it a disease, I won't even get into that, but I have reasons why I call it a disease, because I've actually watched videos and things about the brain, what parts of the brain it affects. I believe that it is a disease. But beyond that, one of the things with it is we always try to say that we can control it, because we forget the pain that we go through when we're really bad. It's just like pregnancy. They say if a woman remembered child labor like exactly, that they would never want to have another kid.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the pain. But our body, our genetic makeup is so insane that our brains are able to forget. So I forget. I'm like, it wasn't really that bad when I was going through withdrawal, was it? I mean, it was bad for maybe a day, but then it was okay. If I just drink on the weekends, I'll be okay. I do this all the time, and we just rationalize with ourselves. And so anyway, I'm getting way off track
No,
here.
keep going.
No,
This is good. No, this is
getting
really
some
good.
insight here. I like it.
Yeah.
So basically, I finally said I needed help. So I went to Ignatia Hall. Awesome place. It's got a lot of history with AA because, AA started in Akron, Ohio. So with
We're
Bob.
sister town,
Sister
city.
Ignatia and all that stuff. So it's a great place, but I was just doing outpatient. So I was going 4 days a week for like 3-hour sessions, and they were like small groups. We had family nights. It was really good, and I stayed sober. I was like, finally, this was the first time, this is last January, and I think this is the first time I was actually committed to getting sober. Like, all the other times I was like, yeah, I know I need to quit, I need to cool down, but I never wanted to quit all the way. And this time I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So I got over 30 days sober. I was doing good, but I still struggled with I'm never ever going to have a drink in my life again. That's the hardest part for me. So, they drill all these stupid sayings in your head, like one day at a time. Don't look at the big picture like that. Just one day at a time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm finally, now I am doing that one day at a time. Now when somebody asks, like if you ask me today, are you ever going to drink again? I'm not going to tell you no. I could drink tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. And kind of part of what works for me is I tell myself, if I do good today, and this sounds so stupid, sounds so childish, but I tell myself, if I do good today and make it through today, I can have a drink tomorrow. And I've heard people say that, and I was like, that's not going to work. It kind of works. So I tell myself, I can have a drink tomorrow. And then I wake up tomorrow, and I go, same thing.
Yeah, it's like Joe's Crab Shack or something.
Right.
Free crab tomorrow.
And exactly.
No, I can relate to that just from, when I have a fight coming up, I have to eat right. If I do good for the next 5 days, I'm going to celebrate and go eat a pizza or go wild. And then when that day comes, I'm like, I get on the scale or whatever, and I'm like, I'm happy with that number. I don't need that pizza. That's how I kind of relate to that.
That's what they tell me to do, and they say eventually, once you get a year in or 2 years, then the desire to drink and the cravings are going to start fading too. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to completely go away.
No.
But I just, at this point, I try to tell myself, I don't look at it like that anymore of, am I ever going to drink again? Instead, I go, maybe a year from now, I'm going to go on a date with a girl or something, and maybe we are going to have drinks, and maybe I'll be able to handle it. Will I be able to handle it? Probably not. But that's how I'm looking at it in my head. Maybe I will, and maybe I will drink. Maybe I'll drink 10 days from now. I don't know.
Right.
But I know today I'm not planning on drinking.
Yeah, that's weird. That's something you don't really think about when it comes to alcoholism. Like, what it's going to be like to date someone that drinks or that has a drink. Like, what if you?
Right.
Some people, I'm sure, just kissing someone who has alcohol, on their lips or in their mouth or something, that might trigger them. You know what I mean?
I mean, there are all kinds of triggers like that. And for me, in the last few years, I've dated girls. Well, I've destroyed so many relationships that really have never even had a chance to get started, because I've went out with a couple different girls in the last few years that I knew from back in high school, that I believe probably had crushes on me. They were younger than me, in high school because they had a different image of what I was.
Yeah.
And of course, what do you do when you go on a date? You go to a bar, you go to a movie, and then you go to dinner, you go to the bar.
There's usually alcohol involved.
There's alcohol involved.
Most of the time, like that's like that liquid courage people need to like meet new people and shit.
I need to get a couple drinks in me to get to be able to talk and be Evan Wiley.
Yeah.
And so then within a few dates, I think they start realizing he might have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was fun the first couple dates. He's a lot of fun. But I think he takes it a little bit too far, because then we go back to their house, and I'm still drinking, and they're done.
And they're ready to shut down for the night.
Yeah, they're ready to either go to bed and go to sleep or, you know, something else.
Right.
But and I'm still, I got to go to the bathroom real quick, run in the kitchen and grab a drink. And, I mean, I can't tell you how many girls I've hid, like, that know we're drinking together that night, and I'm still hiding drinks from them.
Yeah.
Right. It became a habit almost.
Oh, yeah. That's like part of my everyday routine is hiding how much I'm drinking. When you're going places that are for drinking and you're still hiding what you're drinking, it's pretty bad.
Right.
I'll even say this past summer I went to Jared's and brought a 12-pack with me. And I was going in his house and getting in my book bag and drinking. I had a thing of apple Crown,
right?
And I was taking shots when nobody was around.
On top of the 12 beers that you were planning on drinking.
Yep.
So you had like pre-planned, like hiding.
I had everything.
That fucking book bag was the downfall. First off.
Oh, I've got it in your car.
No, I will fucking smash that thing right now.
I like it.
The book bag.
Yeah.
That should be like the name of your biography, the book bag.
The book bag.
Yeah, that makes sense. Chapter 1, car bar. The creator of the car bar.
People know the car bar. And that the sad thing about the car bar is I was doing that after my first DUI and after my second DUI. After my second DUI, people at one job knew me. I worked with a lot of young kids at Incept. I say young kids, I was young too, but I was in my late 20s, and a lot of them were in their early 20s. And they knew when we go out to like First Friday or go to the bars in downtown Canton, Evan's got a car bar. He's got a couple bottles in his car. It got to the point where because I was known for it, I'd get like different stuff because I wanted to be cool guy.
Started buying into it.
Yeah, I've got the car bar. Let's go.
I think that honestly was a big factor, and maybe the beginning was that you were the party guy. You were the Michelangelo of the group, and we all had so much fun doing, getting you riled up and getting you to the E-Pac level. And I think it was like it, and I think we're part to blame too for everything, because we like would feed into it, and then like you had a hard time shutting it off, and we were like, okay, it's time to chill the fuck out, and you were like, no, I'm turned up now. I'm ready to go. I
mean, you guys can't blame yourselves. I mean, absolutely, those are true stories, but like I was gonna get there one way or the other. Right. I just enjoyed. I was just in rehab with a guy who was also a musician, like myself. Only he was a lot more accomplished musician than me. He actually played in a pretty big band called Satire. I don't think he'll mind that I throw that out there.
Plug it.
And they played. I mean, he opened up for bands like Better Than Ezra in the '90s and the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh wow,
those are big bands.
Yeah, he was doing it like at a young age, and he said like his first addiction, and this stuck with me. He was a big talker in rehab. He had a lot of good insight. Was applause. That was the first thing, and I really related to that. Like you were saying, you guys would get me riled up. I liked the attention.
Right.
I love the attention.
Never shied away from a camera.
It's funny now in sobriety, I get nervous before things like this. I get really nervous. Like you're like, we're gonna talk about. You can go ahead and take the mic, and I'm like,
no, you're doing great though. This is. I like hearing this. I honestly do.
For sure.
It's totally a different. Like, I don't know. It's different because before I'd just be like, just throw everything out there, throw my life out there, and I didn't care. But it's harder to talk about this stuff, I guess. There's Walt again.
Yeah, he's chiming in. He'll chime in from time to time.
I guess to get back on track with last year, and I'm sure you can edit some of this out if I drag on too long about this stuff. But so I went to this IOP. I did well. after we finished the 4 weeks, we went to something called Relapse Prevention Program, where I just basically checked back into Ignatia Hall once a week, every Thursday, and had a different counselor. I still saw all the same people. I have great relationships still right now with these people up at Ignatia Hall, the counselors there. I love them. I love that place. And I relapsed a couple times while I was going to this relapse prevention program. I guess everybody kind of has a different idea of what a relapse is. Some people say it's just when you pick up a drink again. Some people say there's something called a prelapse. You might go have a couple drinks and you kind of catch yourself. And
before it gets too bad again.
Yeah, some people say a relapse is you actually start binging again. Yeah. I definitely relapsed. I was drinking again. But I told on myself these couple times that I did that. I told on myself there, which was very different for me. I was really trying to work on being honest because, when we become addicts, we become liars, like big time.
It goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand. You kind of have to learn how to lie because you're telling your family and your friends that you're doing things better and you're not, and so you become a good liar. You become good at hiding things, and then you catch yourself lying about things that aren't important. So my one counselor, she was not an addict, but her husband was. So she went to Al-Anon. Her husband's been clean 9 years, and she says still to this day they'll have a conversation, and she'll ask him a stupid question like, "What'd you do today?" And he'll start to say something, and then he'll stop, and he'll go, I don't know why I said that. I didn't do that. This is what I did. And it's just because
it's instinct at this point.
It's instinct to cover up.
You don't think about stuff like that when
not at all.
When you hear addict, you think of lying and like pulling the wool over people's eyes, but you don't think of after they get help that it's still part of them.
It's kind of ingrained in your brain. I think it's something you can get over time, but I catch myself doing stupid stuff. I'll talk to my parents sometimes, and I've even caught myself with my parents, and I'll be like, I don't know why I said that. Like, I'm just so used to hiding everything from them.
Right. That's wow. I wouldn't even think of that, to be honest.
To quote Eddie Guerrero, the lying, cheating, and stealing. That's what I did. Yeah. My stealing was always a light stealing, but stealing is stealing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But my thing, I don't know, Jeff, you probably knew, I like to steal change.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard the story, and that's not, we don't have to go into it, but that's when I heard, I was like, all right, something has to change here. And it wasn't like, at no point did I say, well, it's time to write Evan off, because I understand that there's an issue here. That he didn't want to do this, but he felt the need, he had to do this. And that's why I said, we can't write him off. We cannot write him off.
It'd be to the point where I wasn't working, because I could never hold down a job, and I'd want a bottle. So everywhere I go, if people leave loose change around, I was taking it, I was pocketing it. Some people kind of knew. I think, like, I took change from your place, your apartment. I think you kind of knew and didn't really care because you always had change scattered everywhere.
I'm Richard Hughes' son. You wouldn't have to work if you went to his house.
And my buddy Corey, he kind of knew that I did it at his house, and he would even tell me, like, I helped them move one day, and he was like, there was just change under everything. He goes, you can keep all the change that you find. What was bad is when I go into, like, Jared, we all know, I'd actually go into his change jar and take change out and try to make it not noticeable. And my parents were the worst. Anytime. My parents don't keep change out anymore. My parents don't leave money around.
They can't. I mean, not saying they can't, but the temptation is always going to be there, probably. Right. Just even if it's not for anything, it's like, oh, that's something that you're used to doing.
They completely don't trust me to... And it's sad, you go around people that you love, and I always feel like now I'm overcompensating when I'm around people, like going, like, look where I'm going, watch me, because I feel like people constantly think I'm up to something, like they're watching.
I never got that from you, but when I did hear the change thing, I said, now we're just gonna have to watch it close. Like, it can't become a habit of where. And we can't set you up. We can't go, okay, here's $5 on the dresser. Like, let's see if he takes it. Because, that's just not, that's not going to do anything. We know there's a problem here, and let's, instead of trying to cause a bigger problem, let's try to fix it. Let's try to help him fix it. So
yeah, in my head, I never wanted to hurt that person. I was never trying to take from somebody that was like, you know, I would do it, and that's why I did it in little amounts like that, because I'm just like, they're not going to notice this is good.
Right. They're not going to miss this $4 in quarters.
Yeah.
Right. I get it.
But
completely.
It just gets worse and worse as it goes, and then it becomes a habit. But anyway, to get back on track, you know, I relapsed there, but I told on myself. I still was trying to get help. My parents actually started coming around a lot more in this past year because they know I'm actually trying to get help. My mom went from I don't understand why you drink. I don't understand why you do drugs. I don't understand why you do this. It doesn't make sense to me. Why do you want to put a chemical into your body that messes you up and is bad for you in every way? I just don't get it. To now, she's went to some of the family sessions. She understands it's something in the brain, and she sees that for the first time I actually want to get help, and so she's a little bit more understanding. She's still tired of going through it, and you know, I'm thankful that I have a place to stay right now while I'm trying to get my feet back on the ground. But at any time, if I screw up, you know, they'll
that could be it.
Kick me to the curb.
That's another thing that could help motivate you to stay. Like, oh fuck, like this is it.
This is it. Yeah, anytime I go to leave the house now, it's like, where are you going? And, you know, I can sit here all day and say I'm in my 30s and my parents are questioning where I'm going. Like, that's so messed up. But the reason why is because if I come back in a different state and they know I'm starting up again, they have every right to tell me I can't live there. They're giving me a place to stay. So,
yeah.
I mean, I kind of have come around to see it in their eyes, too, because, you know, I was 20 times more independent 10 years ago than I am now.
Yeah, you had your own. I
had my own place, you know, like relationships I could hold down, jobs I could hold down a little better. But it's a progressive disease, that's what they say. People would always tell me, you go to these AA meetings and hear people speak, and they'd always say, it's a progressive disease, it gets worse. And I'd go, that doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, maybe the physical stuff, like your liver gets worse, those things get worse, but the disease, like, I still go out. I can take a month off and go out, and it's still the same. I just get drunk. It's the same.
Right.
No, it does get worse. It's weird. Before, I could drink for years, you know, before I started going through these withdrawals and things. Now I can go out, and within 2 weeks, I'm back withdrawing again. It like progresses in your brain. I don't know if it's because I drink more now to get to it. I'm always chasing that first drink.
Right.
When I drink now, I take a shot of whiskey, and it feels good. You know, first couple shots, and I'm into it, that warm feeling, and then the rest of the time I'm drinking, I'm chasing that buzz.
Right.
It's kind of like cocaine, you know.
We've all done cocaine.
Yes.
Okay, we've all done coke. You know, you're always chasing that initial high you get from coke. You're like chasing that buzz
all night.
Yeah, as soon as it starts to feel a little bit like it's wearing off, you're like, where's another bump?
That's why it's so addicting.
Right.
Like,
when with alcohol, it wasn't always that way. You know, it felt like you could just drink so much in a night and be done. But now I'm constantly chasing that buzz to where I've had 10 shots, 12 shots, and, like, I still want more.
Right.
I have to, like, tell myself, just go to bed, you know?
Yeah. And there for a while, there was no shut-off switch. Your shut-off switch was your body literally going, I can't do that anymore tonight. We got to go to bed. Or falling down the stairs and falling on your head.
Yeah, knocking yourself
out. Jeff, I can probably tell a story, and this is like, what, 10 years ago, 9 years ago in my apartment when we were all, like, fighting MMA style in my kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I just wouldn't quit. I had been going all night, and I kept wanting to fight, and I'm getting beat up. And we're not fighting for real. We're
putting him in submissions. He's tapping out, and then 3 minutes later, he's like, let's go again. I'm like, no, I have rug burn. Leave me alone.
Josh, I think, finally, I don't remember. I was blacking out, but Josh, didn't he finally tell you, okay, put him out?
Yeah. And I didn't, though. I didn't.
Well,
maybe I did. I don't know.
You gave me a couple swift shots that I was done. It was enough. I think I had a little bruising on my side the next day, and I was like, all right, I'm going to bed.
Shit.
But I mean, there were nights like that, or Jared's. I don't really want to get into this, but Jared's bachelor party. We all know what a wreck I was at that.
Yeah, and it was weird because we were having such a good time, and once again we were egging you on, keep drinking. Oh, go play beer pong by yourself. Let's see how funny it gets. And then when it got to that point, we were like, we don't want this to happen anymore. And it was like, oh well, tough shit. We started this. We made this happen because we kept going, drink more, drink more.
I think that was one of the markers, was Jared's bachelor party when my friends started getting sick of me acting like that.
Right.
And then so I stopped hanging out with you guys so much and started hanging out with just people I knew from the bars because they accepted me more.
Because they understood, because they could do the same thing. And
yeah.
It got
like,
so
it could
bad.
be me tonight, you know.
It got so bad that in the last couple of years, guys that I hung out with that were my bar friends, just my bar friends, I noticed I wasn't really getting invited back to the after parties anymore. They wouldn't say anything. They'd still be happy to see me when I came in the bar and stuff.
Right.
But I felt like the last couple times I was drinking that I didn't really get an invite back. And I was like,
The wheels started turning.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Started
they're
connecting them
sick
dots.
of me
You're
getting
and
sloppy
I'm telling you right
drunk.
now, you're sober, you're the funnest guy. The first couple hours of drinking, you're definitely the funnest guy in the party. And then after that, it becomes, well, now we got to babysit Evan because you took that to the next extreme. I knew at Jared's bachelor party when Josh took it too far with you, obviously. And I kind of was like, okay, that's enough of this. And then when you went outside and you were trying to leave and you were looking for your car and you're standing in the middle of the road going, I can't find my car. And it was literally 4 feet to your right. I was like, okay, we did something wrong here.
Yeah, that's a red flag for sure.
Yeah.
That is a red flag.
I'll never forget, though, I was so mad at you, and I shouldn't have been, but I was so mad at you. The next morning, I'm leaving, you open your door, you pop your head out, you start giving the Evan Wiley grin. I go, don't even fucking look at me right now, I'm mad at you. And you're like, you just close the door back. You're like, all right, fine. I was so mad.
I'm trying to figure out why everybody's mad at me because it's all still coming back to me.
Exactly. You're putting the pieces together, and you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And then it was like...
Yeah, in my head, it wasn't bad at all.
Right. I will admit, though, you were never, ever once a violent person drunk.
Well, that's what I said too. I've gotten in some arguing matches with my family before, and with some friends too. Obviously, that night I got into it with Josh. We had some stuff, which I apologize sincerely, Josh.
Well, he was just enough to blame.
We kind of had a little build going. Since then, we've been completely back to our old friendship. So, but I never wanted to get violent. Usually I was a pretty happy drunk.
You were always a very happy drunk. That I've always dealt with.
I got to the point where...
Walter, relax.
I don't know what I'm barking at, but I'm barking.
I just got to the point where I was just completely sloppy all the time.
Right.
I was that guy that when we were younger, we looked at and we're like, I'm never going to be that guy. Like,
right. I'll never wake up and drink in the morning.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? No.
I'm always going to be the fun drunk. Because, you guys weren't babysitting me when we were in our young 20s, and even though I was wasted, but we were all and it was just fun. I wasn't falling over and sloppy and.
Well, you had that shut-off switch back then. Like, it was like, okay, we're all crashing. Let's crash.
Let's crash.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line that changed for me.
Right.
So anyway, finally got to the point after I finished there. I went on vacation with my family. Things were good for a while, and it didn't take me long before I picked up again. Did the whole I'm going to control it again. Went a little bit controlling it, just drinking on the weekends. I told myself all the time, just don't drink the next morning. When you wake up and you feel hangover, let that hangover happen. Right. Don't try to kill it off. Sure enough, I just slowly started drinking all the time again, drinking every day, to the point where I'd get up in the morning and I'd have another drink before I went to work just to cool off. Like, it got to the point where I was going to work and I'd be typing on my keyboard and my hands were just physically, I could see them shaking.
Wow.
And it was because I was going through withdrawal.
Of that short amount of time.
That short amount of time. I would just be coming off like a 3-day bender. Say I started drinking Friday or Saturday night, and then I drank all day Sunday pretty much. Hiding it from people or thinking I was hiding it. I used to get away with it. Now they know. They just kind of like let it happen.
Live with it.
Yeah. And then I'd get to work and I'd just be shaking. So it gets so bad, I'd take alcohol to work. I put it in my Gatorade or whatever, and just when no one's looking, pop it. Because at this point, I'm just trying to maintain. I'm not even trying to get drunk at work. I'm trying to hit that. If I can get enough in me to be able to breathe and relax and not feel like I'm about to have an anxiety attack, then I'm set. And then an hour later or so, I need another drink.
Right.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I'm going on my lunch break, and I'm walking from my work down to the bar.
On a lunch break.
On a lunch break. Half hour. I have a half hour. And I'd look around, see if anybody's watching from the building, and I'd walk. They might just think I'm going to the gas station to get something. I'd walk all the way to the bar. I'd go in. I'd say, give me a tall beer and a shot of Crown. I'd get it, take the shot of Crown, chase it with the beer. I'd go into the bathroom, take my bathroom break, because it is my lunch break, come out, give me another shot, take that shot down, finish my beer, walk out, and I got to get back. I got to zoop back to work. So I've gotten like 2 big, nice bar shots in me just to level me out.
Right.
And I'm like good again. A couple hours later at work, I need something else. I started taking those 5-hour energies and filling them up like a couple shots in those.
Oh, wow. Clever.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way we get.
It is clever, but that... At what point were you pouring the shots into the 5-hour energy drinks going, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Whenever, I'd get off these binges and come to, I'd be like, I look back and all I feel is shame. I'm just completely embarrassed of my behavior. What am I doing trying to lose another job? So I almost lost this job because I ended up in this for the first time. I went to the hospital because my counselor at Ignatia told me, you need to quit going through this withdrawal at home. She's like, you can die, you can start having seizures when it's that bad. I'm having the DTs, the tremors.
Explain what that is.
A delirium tremor, I believe, is how you say it. But it's basically you're going through withdrawal so bad, so I'll be laying in bed, and as soon as I try to relax, I'll have one of these like moments, and then all night I'm trying to fall asleep and I'm doing this like uncontrollably. Wow. Not just like hands shaking, but like it's an actual jolt.
Right. Your body is your nervous system's freaking out now.
Right, because it needs alcohol.
And in your brain how to make that go away.
Exactly.
And that's to take a couple shots.
Yeah, it's like a dog that you tell, you're gonna feel better if you do this. Right. Oh, okay.
Right.
Wow. Give me that alcohol.
Yep.
And I'm just prolonging the hangover to when I finally stop, it's so bad that I feel like I'm going to die. And I woke up the one day and I told my parents, I called off like a couple days in a row and I said, I can't go to work. I'm withdrawing. In the years leading up to this, I had looked up what withdrawal is on the internet because I thought I was feeling it. And, I knew I was full-blown feeling it. I went to Altman, was in the hospital for 3 days. I couldn't believe that I kept my job. My boss let me keep it. I was pretty honest with him. He pretty much knew what was going on. I don't know that if he told the higher-ups or not. I went to school to be a counselor, so he's like, if you need any help.
He understood better than most people would.
Very, very nice to me. He said, hey, you do good work for me. I want to keep you on, but you need to get help. So I went back to Ignatia. I was completely done, graduated through the program at Ignatia Hall. I went back. I had some people come in, peer support, into the hospital, talk to me. They said, do you want to get into a program? I said, yeah, I'd like to go back here because I felt comfortable there. Went back, starting all over again. This is August now, and I'm starting all over again. Now I've been in the hospital for this disease. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right.
So I go back through and another 30, 40 days sober, 50 days. I think I was like really close to that 60-day. In fact, I might have even got my 60-day. I don't know if I got my 60-day chip. But anyway, sure enough, I just started, I'm back in the relapse prevention program, and it's like I don't have any accountability or something. I'm only going once a week. And it starts happening. I'm going to AAs, and then I slowly stop going to AA. You know, my parents will be like, do you need to go to a meeting? I don't feel like it. Because I honestly don't feel like it. It's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
Once I'm there,
You're
fine.
happy you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Once I'm there, I'm good. I'm playing a video game right now, or I'm resting. Especially now, I'm working full time. So I was working 9 to 5, going to the outpatient program till like 8. I wasn't getting home till like 9 o'clock.
It's
at
a
night.
full day.
Yeah, it's a full day.
You get no rest time.
I'm like, I'm not going to AA after that. So I'd go to AA the days that I was off, or but like that slowly slowed down. Everything slowed down, and I start drinking again. So I was basically back to drinking. I don't know where we're at, like September, October. Probably about October, I'm back to drinking kind of again, trying to control it again. I don't know, when was your House of Hughes thing?
November, right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I can't remember the day or the
I
date.
think it was right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was doing good. I was going to work, and I actually had some people behind me. I had a good friend at work. She was real supportive of me. She gave me, when I got 30 days, she gave me a 6-pack of Yahoo and was like, here's for 30 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like all you guys always gave me encouraging words, and you guys always say we'll hang out, we won't drink, and I'd always be like, it's me that I want to go drink. I associate everything with drinking. My whole world is planned around drinking. When am I going to get it? How am I going to get the money to get it? How am I going to get there to get it? Because I'm not driving. And all these things are caused, not having money and not being able to drive are all caused from drinking. Yeah, I'm still planning all these things out to get my alcohol, and then when can I drink and for how long? And it's an obsession. So anyway, I had another real bad slip up. I mean, I was already drinking again, but I had a really bad binge again, where I had to call off work again. And my parents knew it. I admitted to them. I went through the withdrawal at home. I didn't want to go back to the hospital.
Which has to be even harder.
It's hard. Yeah. I've done this 3 or 4 times now, going through it at home. And it's just awful. All I can do is lay on the couch, and then I stand up and pace, because when I lay down I start shaking.
Right.
And I'm just walking around. I try to drink water. I can barely choke down water.
Right. Everything's gagging you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even those times when I would drink alcohol in the morning, sometimes I had to gag it down because I couldn't drink anything. But I knew if I got it in me, I was going to feel okay to make it through that day.
Yeah.
And
Jesus.
It got to the point where I went through this withdrawal. I think that's when I told you guys, I had told Josh, I was like, hey, man. And he told me he'd tell all you guys. I was like, I'm not going to be able to make it to Jeff's thing. I thought I was going to be able to go. I thought I could go, either not drink or maybe even have a few beers, because I had already started drinking again, and be fine. But I went through this withdrawal, and I was like, there's no way.
It was a shit show. It would have been the worst place for you to
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's probably a good thing you didn't go.
I probably would have
wasted.
I would have been drinking. You guys would have lost track of what I was drinking, because you guys were all drunk, and I would have.
It was bad.
I would have been drinking whatever liquor was
definitely
there.
You would have sneak into the backpack.
Exactly. Because you guys are all drinking, so how are you going to keep track of what I'm doing?
Exactly.
And it's not your job to. And
it was I know exactly what you. It would have been the worst possible place for you to be.
It would have been bad. Yeah. So, sure enough, I cancel that, and I don't drink that weekend. I was kind of upset that I didn't get to go and stuff. Oh, even though I knew it was my fault. But within a week again, I'm drinking again. So the day after Thanksgiving, I told Jeff I kind of tried to go out the night before Thanksgiving, and it was my dad knew. And my brother knew, my little brother knew, I was trying to leave, and they just, in a nonchalant way, kept me from leaving.
Yeah, they didn't want you to go drink.
They're my dad kept going, we're going to have family over tomorrow. So, yeah, I'll just go out Friday night. So I went out Friday night, and this is how bad it was. I asked my dad to take me to an AA meeting, and I went to the AA with full intention of getting drunk after.
Wow.
I didn't go to the AA meeting drunk. I was respectful. I went there, sat there. I took my book bag. I told my dad I would get a ride home. I said I was doing something. I was going over to a friend's, and I said, I'm not going to be drinking. I'm just going to go over and hang out, and I'll be home tonight. Well, I went straight from the AA, bought like 2 huge bottles of whiskey. Because at this point, when I drink, even when I haven't been drinking, I drink, I know what I need.
Right.
And I don't want to get something that I'm going to run out and need more.
Yeah.
Because what if I need this now once I start going through it? This is how sick I am. So I buy 2 like of the 1.75 liter jugs of, well, you saw me take those out. Now I'm buying 2 at a time.
Damn.
So I have
Which one is enough to drop a horse.
Right. Of this cheap Canadian gold whiskey.
Oh God.
And so I buy 2 bottles, put them in my book bag, and I go to the Landmark, and I just start drinking.
Which is, to let everybody know, is right around the corner from your parents' house, which is a ballsy move.
Right. But I know I can walk there and back.
Yeah, that's true.
But when they close,
can also stop in because that's the first place they're going to look.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't even enough when they closed. I Ubered somewhere else. I think I went to the Red Dog by myself.
Right.
I found friends there.
That's
I'm
a much
drinking.
farther walk too.
I Ubered home.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember really going home. Barely touched the bottles I bought that night, but then, sure enough, now it's Saturday. I'm full go.
Yeah.
I had to work on Sunday, but Saturday I'm off. And I think went to the comic book store with my brothers. And I wasn't drunk when I went. I woke up feeling, and I had like 1 or 2 to level me out.
Right. What comic book store?
Bill's Books.
Love Bill's.
I love Bill's Books.
Love Bill's. Bill's good. Dude. What's up, Bill? Sorry, I just
maybe he'll watch this.
Maybe he should.
Plug Bill's. Go to Bill's Books.
6th Street in Canton, people. Love that place. Anyway,
I was probably buzzing when I went there, but just more maintaining. My brothers didn't say anything. I don't think they knew. They might have had a hunch, but nothing big. And I waited through most of that day. I think was pretty good, and just started pounding again at night.
Because now you have a gallon of whiskey.
I've got a gallon of whiskey,
right there.
So I'm pounding that night, and now I got to work on Sunday. I went to work on Sunday and Monday. This is the week after Thanksgiving. I went to work just drunk. I mean, they had to know. I'm going in and I'm just trying to maintain. And the thing is, at work, when I'm like that, I'm just anxious. I just have the anxiety. Just get me through this day. Rather than being able to focus on my job, I'm just like, get me through this day.
I get that.
Everything I do, every conversation I have with somebody there, everything I'm typing on the keyboard, I'm just like, just get me through. Just get me through. Somehow I do it. I don't know how.
It's impressive.
And I went home those nights and just kept drinking. I think it was... So I went Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Again, I had gotten to that point. I hadn't finished everything yet. Usually I wait till I'm completely out of alcohol. But I knew I was like... I told my parents again, I'm withdrawing again. And they were, well, we knew this was coming. We could tell the last couple of days when you came home from work that you weren't in good shape. When I'm coming home from work and
right,
I look like I'm coming home from the bar.
Yeah.
And so, sure enough, I tell them Tuesday, I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go to the hospital. I go back to Altman. I don't know if they didn't want to keep me there again or what. At this point, I'm still kind of drunk, but I'm already going through the withdrawal symptoms. And, they gave me some medicine, some different things. They gave me some Librium, some Vistarol, Ativan, those kind of things, just to kind of keep me leveled out. And they bring in peer support again. I talked to this lady I know through Task, a really nice lady. Her name is Becky. I'm kind of leaving it in her hands at this point because I'm just out of it to find me a place. She was like, do you want to do... She's like, I think you need to go to inpatient, which is... I'm actually living at the
facility.
I'm like, okay. So she gets me hooked up. She's calling all these numbers for me. Nice person. She's just calling everywhere.
She's trying to get you help.
Yeah. So she finds this place called New Vision that works in East Liverpool Hospital, and they can get me into this program, this place in Youngstown called Neil Kennedy. So these are places, East Liverpool and Youngstown. I don't know anybody.
An hour and a half away.
Yeah. So they send me home from Altman still feeling like absolute shit. And gave me like a prescription for some drug, and she wants me to go up to East Liverpool Hospital the next morning. And they take me there, and they said, well, we'll take you in here, help you detox. And then when a bed is open at this Neil Kennedy place, you can go there. I end up having to stay 5 days at East Liverpool Hospital.
Shit.
Beautiful place.
Is it
Great
really?
hospital. Great
Really?
hospital.
Oh.
I left a note the night before I left. I wrote a long note and just thanking them for everything. I was constantly telling the people that would come in, like, I'm sorry you have to deal with me. You have to deal with real people, and I'm in here. They're like, no, you're fine. You need help. And so they're like, we're used to people coming in here withdrawing, and they're out of their minds and
freaking out,
fighting with us. And so they're like,
you're a pleasant experience.
Yeah, they're like, you're nice and you're apologetic and thankful for everything, and it was nice. I got room service there. I felt like shit the whole time I was there, but it was really nice.
Right.
My parents
it helped
came
a
up.
lot, probably.
Yeah.
Knowing that people were taking care of you, that actually wanted to take care of you, rather than just doing it for a paycheck.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a good experience. I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to go home, but overall it was a pretty good experience. Then I start finding out about Neil Kennedy. Of course, when I'm feeling better the last day I'm in the hospital, I'm reading reviews online, and I'm not liking the reviews I'm reading, and I'm like, and I was telling my parents, and they're like, you got to do this. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. I just
Don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was told that it was going to be like a 9 or 10 day program, to come to find out that it's more like a 30-day program.
Oh,
So
shit.
I tell my work, and I think I'm done. And basically, I go in, I get a doctor's note from the hospital, give it to my parents. My dad took it to my boss at work, and he said then, he's like, tell Evan, he'll have his job when he gets out. Like,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
that's still kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah.
Because when I got out, I called, and he basically said they want to have a meeting with me, which I think is more or less probably going to be an ultimatum.
Right.
Like, you slip up, you're gone. I haven't had that meeting yet because the human resources lady just went in for surgery, and so she hasn't been back yet. I think I'm going to have it this week, so that's still kind of up in the air. But anywho, Neil Kennedy, I guess, how long have I been talking?
Doesn't matter. Keep going.
No, yeah.
I'll wrap it up with my Neil Kennedy experience. I am not going to give a positive review for this place. This is something I absolutely needed to do, and I'm glad I did it, because I needed to get away from everybody and just be around people that had the same problem I have. You had a lot of people in there that were heroin addicts, things like that, but I've gotten to the point now where I no longer go, well, they're doing heroin and killing themselves. And people, I met a good friend, a guy, I won't throw his name out there, but I met a good friend. He came in the same day as me, kind of gangsta, ghetto type of guy, but really, pure heart. Talked to him all the time. He had these dreads, tattoo on his face, mixed dude, and he's died 14 times.
Wow.
They've had to bring him from
Narcan.
Yeah, they've had to bring him back with Narcan 14 times.
Holy shit.
30 years old. Like, what are you doing, man? But I've gotten to the point where, I used to go into these places and look at someone like that and go,
At least that's not me.
that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm just drinking.
Yeah.
Now I'm just looking at it like a different drug, but it's all the same.
All the
is a
same.
drug
Addiction
is a drug.
is addiction, man. It
Yeah,
doesn't
for
matter
sure.
what you're doing.
I'm lucky that in my young 20s I didn't get into something like that. I never had a desire to shoot up, so I never did, but I think if somebody would have had meth around me, I probably would have done that in a heartbeat. I just never really was around it.
Yeah.
I did my fair share of coke. I tried. I smoked crack before. Acid, shrooms when I was real young. Weed, obviously.
Everybody
Yeah.
smokes weed.
Pills, ecstasy. I love codeine, Vicodin, all that. I even overdosed when I was 18 on Yellow Jackets caffeine pills.
Damn.
I ended up in the hospital then.
Did you buy the
Holy
whole
shit.
store?
That was back when they still had the ephedrine.
Oh yeah. It didn't take that many to overdose on those fuckers.
No.
That's another story for another time. See, I'm not ready to give my lead yet because I just bounce all over the place. I got so many stories. Which you're not supposed to really until you've been sober for a year. But anywho, this place was like jail. I've been to jail 3 times, all for my DUIs. and this place was like a step up from jail. The difference was we had group all day. And people would go around going, I'm grouped out. Because it's basically going to an AA meeting like nonstop.
All day.
All day. We'd wake up they'd get us up at 7 o'clock. We'd go have breakfast at 8. You know, you had time to get in the shower or whatever. Our showers, what they had is the main building, if you stayed in there, it was called inpatient. And then they had 2 more buildings for guys. They had different names for them. They had the Doc's house and the Gelbman house. And they could each fit like 10 or so guys in those houses. So what would happen is they'd be down all day, and then they'd go back to those houses. Then they had 2 houses for the girls, Emory and Vision houses. Okay. And then in the inpatient, which is where I stayed the whole time I was there, that's another story. That's kind of weird. Because here I am, 34. Usually they kept people down there that took a lot of medicines, a lot of medicines, a lot of medications,
a lot of medicine.
I took 1 Zoloft every morning, and I'm in my 30s. You know, not in great shape, but in better shape than a lot of people coming through there. And they never moved me to one of the houses, which I thought was kind of weird. But that's a whole nother thing. So what they do is they get us up at 7. The people from the houses would come over. Our bathroom, we had a public bathroom, and they had these 2 showers in there that you're basically getting inside a phone booth to take a shower. Like you couldn't even turn around to scrub, you know. I was like, this is jail. Right. This feels like how I've been to jail, and this feels like it. The only difference is instead of wearing orange jumpsuits, we got to bring clothes with us.
Did they wash them, or did you have to do it?
We had washers that we had to have Tide Pods. Which is weird because people eat those.
Yeah. Well, children do, yeah.
Which I still don't get to this day.
I still don't understand.
It didn't even do anything. It just made them feel like shit.
I was actually going to ask you, do you know anybody, either of you?
No. I work in a middle school, and I never heard of any of those kids doing it.
Does it even get you like a buzz or anything, or just make you sick?
Idea.
From what I hear, it didn't do anything to them. It was just like a challenge, and people did it. Like
I don't understand that at all.
Me either.
I mean, I guess people dare me to do things, and I do stupid things,
but then you see all kinds of drugs that people do that like just fuck them up. Like it doesn't look fun at all. Not even, but like that crocodile or whatever.
I heard about that.
It essentially gave you leprosy. Like you would lose limbs of your body and shit. Like your fingers would fall off and shit. Like it ate away your limbs.
I actually
100% of the time.
I don't know. I just remember people telling me about it, and I saw pictures. Actually, Joe Rogan talked about it too on a podcast. But like, it was some gross shit. So gross they wouldn't even show it on YouTube. You know what I mean?
I heard about that in rehab. People talking about crocodile.
But like,
or
why
something.
do that? Like, not only that, but like, it looks like it doesn't feel good at all. Like most of these drugs that people are doing.
The things that people are doing now are insane. Bath salts.
Yeah.
And the thing with heroin is people are dying off heroin now because they're getting what is it in there?
Fentanyl.
Fentanyl.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which is killing like Tom Petty and Prince and shit.
Yeah, they're getting fentanyl because people are cutting the stuff with all
to
these
make
different
it
things.
Yeah, and I've also heard with heroin addicts is like if you hear of say that Mark's a heroin addict and I'm also a heroin addict and I know where he got it from and I hear Mark overdoses, I'm looking to get the same shit because I know that's gonna fuck me up.
Yeah. That's what I heard them say in there,
yeah.
which is scares me. I mean, it's
that's
insane.
The mindset people have. Like,
that's
if I hear somebody overdoses and dies or almost dies, they resuscitate or whatever. I'm not. I don't want to do that.
I'm not going near that.
Shit. Yeah, but people are like, I need to get that.
That's always me. Is like, well, I'll take it to this level, but I'm not going to take it to that level. But there's people out there that that's what I need because I'm not getting high off this other stuff anymore.
You're leveling up. You gotta level up.
Yeah, it's a video game.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
So we'd get up, we'd eat breakfast, and then we'd go to group. We'd have group from 9 to 12 with like a smoke break in there, like a 3-hour. Basically, it was like 2 groups because you get the little smoke break. And then after that, you'd have lunch. Then you go to group. Then you go from that group to another group. Then you'd have dinner. Then you had a couple more groups. Sometimes, some certain days, you had like a half hour where it'd say leisure time where you could do what you wanted.
It wasn't much.
No.
Yeah.
By the time everything was done, it was almost 8 o'clock, and you had till 11 o'clock before lights out. If you stayed at one of the houses, you had cable, you could pretty much watch whatever. Down where I stayed in inpatient, we went in one of the group rooms that had a TV. The girls had one and the guys had one. We got like 10 channels. Again, I'm like, this is jail.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly, just like jail. You get 3, 5, and 8.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we had. And we'd watch the same crappy sitcoms that I don't watch when I'm on the out, you know. I would talk about it like it was jail. On the outside, you know, we do this.
Right.
And then I'd go back, and I have this little room with another guy. My bed's here. There's maybe close to 10 feet in between our beds, you know, little kid beds.
Yeah.
No TV
beds,
in there. Yeah. No TV, nothing.
You weren't allowed to have your phone in there.
No, as soon as I got there, I had to strip down naked in front of the nurse, like completely naked. My peen was hanging out and everything.
My peen.
Like just.
That's right there. That's enough for me now. I'm like, I don't want to get naked in front of some.
No.
As soon as I got there, and then they take all my clothes, like the stuff I packed too. They go through everything I packed because they make sure I'm not bringing drugs in. They took. I had like just an electric trimmer, not like a full blown razor. Took that. Took my aftershave.
Because you can drink aftershave.
Yeah, they wouldn't let you have shampoo, any of that stuff. Weren't allowed to wear a hat in there.
Because you could be hiding something?
I guess. They said you come in and they had cameras and people would like come in like this, hide and stuff. And just crazy stuff. And they took all my stuff, threw it in the dryer at like the hottest temperature ever to kill any bed bugs, make sure you didn't have bed bugs. So all my stuff shrunk. So I'm mad because I'm very particular about my laundry.
Yeah.
And my t-shirts are all shrunk now.
That
And
would piss me off.
wrecked one of my hats, went through the dryer. It was my Smashing Pumpkins Zero hat, and it's all smashed up now. Yeah, I know.
That place is getting a bad Yelp review.
Yeah, dude.
It just like, and here's the thing: there were some counselors there that did really want to help and were there, but there just wasn't enough counselors for people. Half the time, we ran our own groups. This is how bad it is. We would go in, and they'd say, like a counselor would pop their head in and be like, "Who's running?" And they'd get somebody that had been there for a while. "Hey, can you run it? Like this person over here." "Yeah, I got it." And luckily, when I got there were some really good people there. When I first got in there was a lot of people that really wanted help. I met some good guys. The guy I was talking about earlier that played in bands, another guy that really kind of got me closer with God again. We read scripture together.
That's awesome.
They did offer yoga in there twice a week, and I started going to yoga. Loved it.
I love yoga.
I loved it. I had never done it in my life. Absolutely loved it.
It's fucking hard.
It is hard.
It's so hard.
I woke up sore the next day.
So fun.
It was amazing, and she was very spiritual, and would like read scripture while she did it. You know, she was big time Christian and play like Lifehouse and Skillet and stuff.
I don't know about that.
You know?
Like, let's turn that down.
Hey,
but I guess at that point, any music's better than nothing.
was nice, you know, and so I met a lot of really good people, and I really needed it. But like they would just tell us to run group, and we just run it. You know, somebody would read the prayer for the day or the word for the day, whatever, and then we'd all comment on it, and it was good. It was good. I didn't care that the counselors weren't that involved because I was getting what I needed. About 2 weeks in, a lot of those people, the really good people that I met in there, were leaving. They were graduating. A lot of the people coming in were people that were court ordered to be there. I don't think
they didn't want to be there.
They didn't have a desire. They were doing it to get their sentence lowered. They were the people that if they signed themselves out, because I could sign myself out at any time, but if they sign themselves out, they're going to have to go back to court. They're going to get a longer jail sentence.
They were getting a benefit, for sure.
You get these people coming in, and there's girls there. In jail, you don't get to see the girls. There's girls there. It was like a high school. I called it Neil Kennedy High. There was this big block you could walk around in the middle, like when you were like when we had our free time or whatever, and these guys would see any girl, like these half decent looking girls, not even, you know, and they're in rehab, you're in rehab, you don't have anything to offer them, they don't have anything to offer you.
They're catcalling these girls.
And they're just following them, trying to get digits and stuff. You know, I met some girls in there that I talked to, friendly conversations and stuff, but like to go to rehab to try to get a girl is just it's insane to me.
It's like, yeah, I can't see that's very positive.
I've made some friends in there that I'm already friends with on Facebook, so, you know, if they see this video, they'll be like, eh. but I mean, it's the truth. Like, that's how it was, and it was insane. It was like a high school, and you'd constantly hear them come over the monitor. They have cameras everywhere, and they'd come over the monitor. Guys on their side, girls on their side in the cafeteria. people step away from there was this guy that had white glasses in there. He was a nice guy, but we called him Vanilla Ice. And then one day I was in the bathroom and I heard over the speaker, "Well, the gentleman with the white glasses and the purple shirt step away from the women." And I start cracking up in the bathroom because I knew exactly who they were talking about.
Yeah, that is funny.
I mean, I could tell you some funny stories from Neil Kennedy, like just
that had to be that'd be a trip, man. Just seeing all these different people that you don't come in contact with on a normal
and
day.
I'm there's people in there that kind of know the same people, just like when you go to jail. Oh, I know so and so. I go in there and I know no one. Finally, the last week I was there, I met a girl that was from Stark County. She went to Sandy Valley. We knew some of the same people. She was a good 5 years younger than me, but we knew a lot of the same people.
Oh, that's cool.
I won't name drop her on here, but
right.
For the most part, I'd say Stark County, and I'd go, Football Hall of Fame, and they'd be like, "Oh, I know it's in Ohio."
Fuck that.
A lot of people didn't know Canton, Akron at all. They're all in
and
Youngstown.
They're from Ohio. Yeah,
they live in Youngstown,
right.
or a lot of people were from Cleveland, the Warren area.
Okay, that's right in between Youngstown and Cleveland.
And I'm like, I know where Warren is.
Right, been there a few times. For
How
some
do you not
fights
know
and
where
stuff.
Canton is?
Right, yeah. It's like the 4th or 5th biggest city in Ohio. How do you not get?
I didn't understand it. But anyway, to end the rambling about Neil Kennedy, the people coming in were, I wasn't enjoying it. And some of our groups near the end of when I was there were getting kind of tense. We'd have a big group and people would sit there and talk about, when it was their turn to talk, they'd say, there's a lot of personalities in here because we had our older people and then we had all these young kids coming in, and it was I was right in the middle. And it's a lot of people aren't here for the same reason, and we kind of got to watch ourselves and try to get along. And it was just it was changing, and I wanted out. And I told them from the beginning they wanted to keep me. I actually should still be in there till January 3rd. And I told them when I got there I'm going to spend Christmas with my family and my daughter. I don't get to see my daughter as much anymore because she does her own thing.
And she's what, sophomore this year?
She's 16. She's a junior.
She's junior in high school.
And so I wanted to spend Christmas with her, and I told them that from the get-go, and they were like, well, because it's a money-making issue.
Right.
My insurance is paying for it. They're going to keep me
They're still getting
long.
a check, yeah.
January 3rd would have been past 30 days for me, but they don't want to let you go on a holiday. They don't want to let you go on a weekend. They have all these rules. It's a money-making thing.
Yeah. Well, which is anything to do with the medical field is a money-making. I mean, yeah, there are people in there that want good for these people.
There were people that work there
but there's
really
also
great.
people with their hands out without you being here we don't make our money. So.
Overall, that facility was so disorganized. It was one of the most disorganized companies I've ever come in contact with.
You needed people that are, I feel, in your situation need consistency and
structure.
Organization, structure, all of that.
For sure.
But I am thankful I went through it. I got what I needed out of it, and I learned through that. I learned from some people I talked to, especially my one friend Chris, who I still have kept in contact with since I've gotten out. Is you got to work your own program. You need to take all the advice and the things that you get, but sometimes you have to close off everything else and not pay attention to what's going on. You'd have people in there just still kind of glorifying the drugs. They'd be at lunch talking about all the drugs they did, and and it's almost like they're you can tell they're just ready to get back out.
Right. And what I feel if you're in there, you're in there for a reason. You better try to at least embrace what they're doing.
When I went to the AOD programs in jail, I knew I wasn't going to quit, but I still tried to kind of embrace it and get something out of it.
There's little life lessons in everything you do, and that's a big life lesson that you should and I think from just talking to you, I feel like you've done everything the right way, and you, as of right now, I mean, you're doing the best I think that you've ever done. I told you when we got here, I was just the 5 minutes we rode in the car together, you're talking more clear, it's different than it used to be. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's hard to put in words, but you're speaking more clear. It's just I'm happy to see you this way.
I've had other people say that. And it's to me, I feel like I sound exactly the same, but
it seems genuine this time around.
Right,
basically.
it does. That's what I guess it is. It's just it's not you're not talking better. It just sounds better to me. It sounds like you want to be here.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Whatever I'm trying to say is...
I like it.
Whatever works, man.
How long did that go on, man? I feel...
Whatever. 45 minutes.
That was therapeutic, Mark, so I appreciate you guys letting me.
No, it's all
No,
good.
this is what we wanted to do. I wanted to hear your story. You've been one of my closest friends for 12 years now, and it's been a concern of mine to know what's going on, but like I didn't want to pry. I didn't want to, kind of speak out of my lane about it. Like I didn't know what to say exactly, but I'm happy that you came here and explained it to us.
Yeah. I was just kind of letting you go. Like I figured you'd say what you wanted to say and what you needed to say, so we just kind of let it go.
This is awesome. This is great, man. This is exactly. I'm happy that you came and did this.
I am too. I
have a couple questions if you don't mind.
Sure.
They're not too personal. Like how? I guess they are, but like, how is your daughter like handling this? Because obviously she's old enough to know. Like she's not like my daughter, where I could be like, Daddy has to go somewhere for a while. And like, she knows what's going on.
Absolutely, she 100% does. And I think for a while I could kind of hide it from her. I mean, I think she always kind of knew as she was getting older. 10, 11, 12, but. For the most part, I think she knew, like, the one time I went to jail. But for the most part, I didn't drink around her.
Right.
There were a couple times when she was really young where I actually drank with Carrie, her mom. Mm-hmm. But we'd wait till, she went to bed.
Right.
And so, I mean, she'd known that I drank here and there, but didn't really know I had a problem till more recently. Probably in the last 3 or 4 years, she knows that I have a problem.
Well, how is she, how is she taking it?
She's become more distant to me. She doesn't talk to me about it necessarily. I'll like sometimes send her a text, tell her what I'm doing. I think she knows I was going to get help because everybody else knew. And I've told her if she ever wants to talk about things, we can. I said I'm always here for you. And she'll tell me, she'll text me back, she'll say thank you and I love you. And, we still have a pretty good bond there, but I know that she keeps her distance from me more than she used to. Part of it is age. When she got to be about 13, I think is really before she started to notice 12, 13, and she was already not wanting to come around as much because of friends. I know there was a particular incident, though, that one day I was coming home after a bender of doing a lot of stuff. This is probably a few years back. And my parents kind of caught me on the way coming in, knew I was completely messed up and Paige was there. I was trying to get home. And usually I just, could just mesh in. Well, my parents kind of called me out, so I left. Because I was like, I'm not dealing with this, and I just left the house.
And she would come on Sundays, correct?
Yeah, she used to always come on Sundays. She was there, and I left, and I know that because she went back and talked to her mom. I didn't get it from my parents. I got it from Carrie, came back to me and said, well, your parents kind of went into stuff with Paige. They took it upon themselves to tell Paige.
Probably not their bet.
I had some resentment to my parents. I know they're just trying to, they were kind of saying, do you see what your dad's doing? You don't want to end up like that. They were using it to tell her not to get involved
They almost went into it like an old school mentality. This is what happens when you do this. See, do you want this? And that might not be the best way to do it.
No, I was pretty resentful after, because of course they didn't tell me they had a talk with Paige. Paige didn't tell me, Carrie did, because Paige went back and told Carrie what they were saying, and Carrie was
nothing's better than baby mama
coming down on you. Carrie came.
Believe me, I know that it sucks.
She said, what's this about? You came home all messed up and then you left, and then they were lecturing Paige about she doesn't want to be like you and do this stuff. And I'm like, jeez. It probably caused me to drink that night.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I guess I never think about it like that. Like when you're giving them shit, it probably just makes it worse. Makes them want to do it more.
Yeah, it's nobody's fault but my own, but there are definitely things. Even my parents now trying to keep me from doing things, and I'm like, I'm over 30 years old and stuff. I build a resentment.
Right.
I built a resentment in that Neil Kennedy place. The first 2 weeks were like, I got a pretty good experience, and then the last week I was there, I was like, get me out of here. Now I'm starting to feel like I want to drink.
Right.
And that's not right.
That's not what that place is for.
Right. And that's not right. That's still me. That's me finding an excuse. And I realize that But it is, there are things like that it's just, they're still triggers to me.
Right. And you might always have those.
I probably will.
But I'm hoping, see, you're what, 34, almost 35 now?
Yeah, I'll be 35 in February.
So hopefully by when we're talking, because I'm always going to have a relationship with you, hopefully when we're talking you're 40, you're going to say, I don't have these cravings anymore, and these trigger points, I kind of brush them off, like, fuck off. That's my mentality on shit.
Yeah.
It's like stuff that triggers my anger or my depression. I'm to the point now where I just go, fuck off, man. I don't need it. I don't care if you don't want to be in my life or whatever, or you think I'm doing something wrong, then fuck off. Mind your own business. And I hope I hope that's where you can get to, instead of going, well, I'm pissed off, so now I want to drink. You know what I'm trying? I guess.
I second that notion.
Yeah.
Another thing, real quick, that I learned, kind of go off what you were just saying, is, they tell us that our brain kind of stops maturing once we really get into the drugs, like when you're an addict. So I can speak for myself. I never really developed good coping skills. Because from the time I was, in 18, 19, 20, I'd say I started getting really bad in my early 20s, that I kind of stopped maturing, and my coping skills were to go drink.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's what I go to. Everything is drinking. I'm mad, I want to drink. I'm sad, I want to drink. All these things. I've never developed coping skills.
Instead of getting on a treadmill and running 5 miles, being like, and then when you get off, you feel better.
Exactly.
To me, that's what I do. Is I do something like that. And that's the same feeling of when I get done. I'm like, fuck it, it's not that big of a deal. Like, that's what you were trying to find when you were drinking was,
right.
It wasn't that big of a deal. What the fuck am I so mad? But the damage is already done at this point.
Yeah, so I kind of come off, probably a lot of times I've come off really immature, and I sound like an 18-year-old because, my brain
stopped developing.
Stopped developing certain things. Yeah, I still have certain things, that it's developed. But
don't they say your brain doesn't stop really maturing until you're 30?
No, they say it's like 24 or 25, I think.
Yeah.
That's why, because I started smoking weed at 16, and I was like, fuck, dude, I wish I would have waited till, 26 or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because it affects you. And
definitely does.
You don't develop the same way other people that, never do these drugs or never get hooked.
I'm going to have to use my phone real quick so we can cut this part out.
No, I got you. Actually, I got a pee, so maybe we should just take a little breather.
Yeah, that was a lot.
All right, we took a brief little intermission, piss break. I guess did we wrap up the Evan thing there?
I mean, more or less.
Yeah, we were asking questions, and I've got to say that was probably the best hour of JAMUP that we've had.
It's definitely the most serious, public service announcement type shit, for sure.
And we don't mean to make a joke.
It was very therapeutic.
No, it was great. I'm happy that I was telling you off camera how happy we are that you came on and gave us this
for sure
this story and if it helped you, even better,
Yeah, it definitely did.
It's a real twist for the JAMUP podcast.
Yeah, usually
people probably didn't see this coming at all.
You say Evan Wiley's your guest, and I said
they were like, "Whoa, sweet!"
No, I wasn't gonna say that, but something goofy and stupid.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I was drinking on the last one, so they're probably like, "Oh shit." But yeah, I guess we'll get to a few more bright-sided topics, I guess.
Yeah, let's go back to normal.
A little more sunshine and lollipops now that Christmas is over. Let's start with UFC 232 happened recently. It was John Jones versus
Alexander Gustafsson.
Yeah, I see that name. I had to say a few times.
He's a
before I get it
Swede.
Right. It's not like Khabib Nurmagomedov, which just rolls right off the tongue. But yeah, I guess we'll start off with the two main fights. We'll go with Nunes versus Cyborg, which didn't last long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, wow. Can I start this one off?
Go for it. You're the MMA guy.
I have grown up watching Cyborg fight. She is a fucking monster. When they used to talk about her and Rousey fighting, I was like, well, that's Rousey train is done. The hype train is done because she would have mowed over Rousey. So going into this fight, I said Nunes is the definite underdog.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, she has a puncher's chance, but man, I said Cyborg's gonna mow her over in the first round, and that's what happened. She tried to do what I thought was gonna happen.
Yeah, I think that was probably her downfall. They went straight at each other. I mean, Nunes finished her off in the first round. 51 seconds.
51 seconds, yeah.
I mean, I didn't see that coming at all. I thought it was going to be a hell of a fight, but that...
And something you don't see very often with female fighters, and I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, I know different biology and all that, but like you don't see a whole lot of absolutely out cold knockouts in MMA.
Oh, dude,
women's
she landed
MMA.
flat on her face, right on her nose. Like they showed the replay, and I remember just seeing like her whole face squished in, like straight into the mat.
Yeah, and they showed a really good replay of when she was going down. She kind of like looked over because you can tell like the lights were still on a little bit, and then they shut off mid fall.
Yeah, her head just like turned.
Yeah,
like a robot. Like it just went back into its programmed position and went straight
like
straight
a
to the
cyborg.
floor.
Like a cyborg.
Exactly.
Oh
Holy
wow!
shit.
I'm
Why
gonna
didn't I
have to
put
check
that
that out
together?
on YouTube for sure.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Do you do Facebook anymore?
I'm still on the book face.
Yeah,
On
I'll
the
send
book
it to you
face.
on the book
That's
face.
what you've been messaging me
That's
about this on the book face.
Book face.
I was wondering
I
what
get
you're
it.
doing over there. I was like, what's
I
going
get
on?
it.
But no, dude, that I didn't see that coming, and it made me think like, what if they did an entire card where every fight was finished within the first round? It'd be like a 45-minute pay-per-view.
I think they have a lot of backup for that reason. They have a lot of previewing of what's going to happen next, and they just throw a lot of video packages in between. Like
Promos
that
and
fight
shit.
could have went 25 minutes,
Yeah,
but between the Jones and the Cyborg fight, they played a lot of packages. Like this is what we're doing in ESPN in 2019, and
Yeah.
so UFC's going to ESPN now, which is great.
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, it's going to be on ESPN instead of Fox now.
actually, yeah,
Okay.
and WWE's going to Fox.
And
WWE.
WWE's going to Fox SmackDown.
So yeah,
So I think it's going to work out better for everybody because everybody knows what Raw, or is it SmackDown? It's not Raw.
I thought it was both, but maybe not.
Is it? What I had heard is, which things might have changed, was that USA shelled out a bunch of money to get to keep Raw, but wasn't willing to shell out the same money for SmackDown.
Gotcha.
And SmackDown's a better product.
Well, right,
But
For
Raw's
sure.
been
Most
on there since
wrestling
'93 or whatever.
right.
Kind of went away for a minute and then came back.
Raw still draws better ratings just because more
it's
people know it.
because it's Raw.
It's,
For the
yeah,
most part.
it's the flagship show.
Right.
But yeah, dude, that Nunes Cyborg, crazy. I expected it to be a 25-minute fight.
So did I.
It was not. I think you're right. Cyborg came out guns blazing, a little too hard, and it bit her in the ass.
And it works for her in past fights, but I think Amanda Nunes is just a step above. Now, these two women could fight again. It can be a completely different outcome. That's the beauty in fighting, but I think Amanda Nunes anticipated it and trained for it. Like, okay, I'm better than this. If you come in, I have the power to put you out.
See, you had Cyborg, right?
Yeah.
To me, it was a toss-up. Like, I think Cyborg, like I said in the last one, and you laughed, I said, I think Cyborg is scarier for sure.
Yeah.
But Nunes is a monster. She's so fast. What's up?
Walter.
Oh, I didn't even realize he was over there. Shit.
Yeah, she is. I mean, and there's no secret that women's MMA is a couple years behind men's MMA and technique-wise and all that. And Amanda Nunes is the exception, man. She has great technique, throws beautiful combos. She's good on the ground. She's good at wrestling. She's good at everything. Like, she is the next generation of women in MMA. And it's going to be just like in wrestling, dude. You're seeing some of these women matches are better than the guys, and it's going to be the same. I say another 5-6 years, there might be better women fights than there's guys fight. I mean, it just could happen.
They thought they were on the verge of that with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. But she was still very one-dimensional, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like it's getting even better. Oh, I remember when I watched UFC 200, because obviously I don't keep up with it like you guys, but I was impressed with Nunes.
Yeah. She put a beat.
I didn't know who
Misha
she
Tate.
was going into
Right.
that. Yeah, Misha Tate. And
That's another thing that's going to happen is they're going to start marketing more of these women because they're going to be moneymakers. Guys like to watch fucking girls go at it. They like to see them scrap.
yeah, well, look how much money Ronda made him.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being revolved around Ronda Rousey, it's going to be revolved around the women's divisions as a whole.
I can't stand when they have one name.
Yeah. I don't like it either. So
You think they'll ever go the WWE route and do an all women's pay-per-view?
Maybe
like a
I don't
few
know
years
about
down the road.
Yeah, I don't know about a
names.
pay-per-view. Maybe a fight night would be really fun to watch. Now there is a promotion that does all women fights. I think it's Invicta. They're fairly big.
Oh, I didn't
A
even
lot
know
of
that.
these girls, these females are starting in Invicta. It's kind of like their LFA.
Huh.
I think anything's in the realm of possibility nowadays because the way we are with what is the campaign Me Too or something like that, like getting the women.
Everything's
Hashtag
equal, and it should be. I think everybody deserves the equal chance, equal rights, and if it's a better fight, it's a better fight.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, that's all I care about. I'm not against women fighting or anything. No, I'm probably against my daughter fighting. But
yeah.
But God knows she'll probably end up doing it. So.
Well, yeah, you are her dad.
Right, and she's not a very aggressive person, but I really wasn't when I was growing up either until I hit about first, second grade.
Yeah, there you go.
It only took that long.
Yeah, it only took like what 6 years.
I was very timid until then, though. I was very, So maybe I don't know.
Little Jeffy.
Yeah, but
little big Jeffy.
Yeah, I was never little. The main event, though, man, there was a lot of build up for that, and I don't think it really delivered.
No, I think Nunes and Cyborg was probably the fight of the night for sure.
Right.
The big moment, definitely. But I think, Jones definitely won the fight, and he didn't look like he had any advantage. You know what I mean? Like it was a pretty good fight there up until the end.
I thought the only way Jones loses that fight if he doesn't try to take it to the ground, because Gustafsson's been known to not have. Do you want to wake him up? Or?
I'm trying to keep the microphone away.
Buddy, come on, come here. He's the star of the show today. Evan's not the guest. Walt and Evan is the guest. Come here, bud.
Walt took over.
All right. Sorry, people.
3, 2, 1, go. I always said Gustafsson. The way to beat Gustafsson is to take him down. But he's gotten so much better at not getting taken down. It's scary. But Jones's wrestling is out of this world. Yeah. So it kind of went. I said it's either going to go 5 rounds and Gustafsson sneaks out a decision, or Jones does get to the ground and finishes him, and that happened.
Yeah. Well, see, I watched the first fight they did from however long ago.
I think 6 years ago.
On YouTube, because they made it a free fight. You know, UFC does that shit. And it was a much different fight from the first one. Like, it was debatable whether or not Gustafsson may have won the first one. This one, there's no doubt.
Right.
And
stopped him.
Even in some of the promos before the fight, Jones said, like, that was a diluted version of myself that he fought before. And I could definitely see that in this fight compared to the first one. And
he's only fought 3 times in 4 years. I mean, that's impressive too, man. There was no rust. There was no ring rust.
Yeah. No, especially with all the controversy surrounding him in this fight, like, it was a pretty well-matched fight. Like, Gustafsson, he was holding his own there until the end.
Right, and then Jones took over. It was the bad part about Jones, though, is, like, now he's going to have so many eyes on him, and if he slips up one time, it's like everything's going to be pissed away again. Yeah. Like, I feel bad for the guy to the point where, like, he's made bad decisions, but sometimes bad luck, just follows you. Yeah. And I think part of it has been the bad luck. Like, everybody's making a big deal about this drug test that he took, and that there was like a grain of sand of the whatever he took before was in his body still. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's not going to give you any advantage whatsoever. So why are we making a big deal out of this?
Yeah, that's what he said too. It's kind of like the whole weed thing. Like, weed doesn't help your game at all. Like, no. If anything, it might hinder it.
It would if you went into something smoking weed.
Yeah. Like, I being a weed smoker myself, like, it definitely gives you more focus. You're able to concentrate a little more in most cases. But other than that, even that wouldn't even give you that much of an advantage. No. Almost being too focused in a fight would probably be bad.
I would think, yeah, because fights are mostly instinct anyways. It's muscle memory. what your body's like. I don't tell myself, okay, now throw a jab. All right, now throw a left hook.
Yeah, you're not really thinking.
It's natural.
Yeah.
You know, that you got to train your body to do it.
Survival mode, man.
Yeah.
Might be just like they want the clean image.
Yeah.
UFC.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they don't want like, remember how baseball was 10, 15 years ago?
Right, exactly.
Oh my god, it was like the dirtiest sport in the world, and now like UFC's trying to avoid all that.
Right. Well, it's like the NBA in the late 80s, early 90s, too, where like people were saying it's a bunch of thugs. And so
Right.
David Stern tried to clean it up.
Yeah. And I get it. You know, these people are making so much money that just the Josh Gordon thing, for instance. Like,
yeah.
Dude, but after talking to you, I get it. I get it a little bit more
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's
not. You think he wants to be fucking fined and fired and never play football again? No, but sometimes
I said
your mind
myself,
doesn't think right.
I was a complete hypocrite when he first started with that early with the Browns, and I was like, man, you're making that kind of money and you can't just stop, but here I am.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
It doesn't matter how much money you make.
Exactly.
The addiction's stronger than any dollar sign you can fucking find.
Yep.
So now, I mean, honestly, talking to you has opened my eyes up even more. Like the whole disease, it's a disease, it's not a disease. Like, yeah, it might. Nobody told you to put that shit in your body, but it doesn't mean it's not.
Right. You're at fault for doing it in the first place, but the cravings and things
It's
are...
a preventable disease.
Oh,
Doesn't mean
absolutely.
it's not a disease.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just how it is. It's not, why put it on the same thing as cancer? Yeah, I don't choose to get cancer, but it
Right.
happens the same way. You didn't choose to have to go through this.
Right.
But you are.
What the scientists have found out, not to jump back onto it, but is that we are born with the gene, and it's whether we open that or not. Some people haven't, some people don't.
Right.
Some people can drink and be fine and not want to drink again for a month. When I opened up my gene in my midbrain, it's shutting off my frontal cortex and telling my midbrain it's like survival now. It's the midbrain's the same part that tells you need to breathe and need to eat and need water to live.
You need this substance.
And now it wants that substance.
Right.
Wow.
Who would have fucking ever guessed this dude was a
Fucking neurological.
brain wizard.
Well, I've been through it in the last year watching all these videos and stuff.
But yeah, I compare John Jones and
John Jones, I mean,
he's another guy, man. He loved to party, and it caught up to him, and it was like, why are we making this guy feel like dog shit because he's making a bunch of money? You can't stay clean.
Yeah.
Instead of going, man, this guy needs help. Like, let's get
help.
him the help.
I mean, it's not an uncommon story either. I mean,
No.
like we would forgive all kinds of other people for making mistakes, but just because he's John Jones and he's kind of fucking cocky about it, like fuck that guy is what
it comes with the attitude too.
Right.
Yeah.
It also it's a nice little soundbite when he goes when he tells Daniel Cormier that I beat you after doing a 3-day coke bender.
Yeah.
What's your excuse this time? Like, what's going to be your excuse this time?
Yeah.
It's a great soundbite.
Sure.
But
Absolutely.
it rubs people the wrong way. Like, oh, you're glorifying that you were on a 3-day bender.
Yeah.
And really, it was just, that's how I sell a fight.
But I mean, if you think about it, he's not wrong. I mean,
Right.
it did happen, and that was the case. Like that
It
says
is a
a
good
lot.
soundbite
Yeah. So,
at the end of the day.
Man, DC is not happy about this. So he wasn't happy before, and he's certainly not happy afterwards.
I was actually on DC's side until, obviously, the Stipe thing. And I'm not saying that DC's wrong in any of this, but like, if you want to fucking prove that John Jones was a cheater and that's the only reason he beat you, go prove it. He's testing positive, or he's testing clean for stuff now, and now this is the time to fight. Like, if you can beat him, this is going to be the time to say, yeah, see, I told you guys. But if he loses again, it's like, well, he's a better fighter.
I mean, and it's inevitable. I mean, who's the next fight for John Jones? Probably DC.
It's gonna have to be. The whole Brock Lesnar thing that died.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, isn't that the fight they won?
They wanted,
So,
yeah.
I mean, and it could still happen, but for some reason it's not.
All right.
They were definitely setting you up for that. I don't know why not, but
I don't know.
but that does remind me of something that happened during the fight. There was an eye poke. There was a couple eye pokes right there near the beginning, and once John Jones got poked in the eye, they milked that shit for a minute. Like,
Yeah.
they stopped. Even the guy came in and shoved a flashlight in his eye. And, like,
Well, the
checked him out for a
doctors, I
second.
think, have to come in now if there's a stoppage.
They didn't for the first one?
That was a nut shot. That's why it wasn't.
I thought there was an eye poke to Gustafsson. Maybe not.
No, it was a groin shot.
Yeah, I do remember the groin shot.
And that referee, man, well, he thought he was like running shit or something. He was like yelling at him. No, I don't want to see another eye. Calm down.
He was like in soldier mode too. The way he was going around the ring, but
like cut your fucking mustache.
I was supposed to say with a mustache like that, he'd probably think you're pretty badass. But
dude, he has a mustache that goes down to his knees.
Yeah, like it's like braided and like I don't even know what it was.
It looks like Dr.
Like
Robotnik or something.
I mean, I think Peter Griffin once said, "With great mustache comes great responsibility." So.
Yeah. Like
You're the only one that watches Family Guy, so
when he was doing the little stick at the beginning where he's like, all right, I want a clean fight, touch gloves, blah blah blah. Even why can't I remember the fucking announcer guy's name? Bruce Buffer. Even Bruce Buffer, when he put the mic in front of it, like he had to like go around the mustache and like put it up in front of him. Yeah, it was funny. I was just like, oh man, what a pain in the ass that mustache.
Yeah, come on, dude, cut the fucking thing.
Like you see that mustache and you know that guy tries way too hard. He just looked like a fucking Lord of the Rings character.
That's exactly what he looks like. But watch, he'll be my ref, my first fight. And he'll be like, oh, you're going to die.
This is the only episode of JAMUP he's ever seen. And he watched this after an hour and 15 minutes of Evan's story. It's the only part he watched.
And I'm getting screwed my first fight. Well, that will happen. He'll be my referee. I'm like, damn it.
Are you scheduled yet?
It might be.
I was just about to say, maybe we'll...
okay, I don't want to wreck anything.
Fight update is always written down for every single episode. Somehow we skimmed over it. I think Jeff did that on purpose.
It's definitely things are moving.
Okay.
As soon as they announce something, as soon as something happens, I'm definitely gonna let you guys know about it.
Good. You better. Because you said right here that this is the place to find the info.
Yep, this is the place. I'm gonna announce it on here first.
Bada bing, bada boom. Well, I guess that'll wrap up the UFC 232 talk.
All together, I thought it was a great card.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, for sure. I mean, I watched the last two matches or whatever first, just because I wanted to make sure I watched it before we did this.
Right.
Then I went back and watched the other one. The other fights weren't bad.
It was kind of upsetting though to watch on the undercard to see BJ Penn, which you know me. I've always been a BJ Penn fan. He got submitted. And
I didn't know he was still fighting.
He shouldn't be. It doesn't look like. I shouldn't say that. I mean, probably people think I shouldn't be fighting either, but
well, how old is he?
He's 40.
Okay.
He got submitted, and he's never been submitted before, so
okay,
it kind of sucked. But it's part of the game. That's what I've kind of grown. I'm still a huge fan of the sport, but like I don't care about who wins and loses anymore. It's kind of like
you're in it now,
right.
So it's different. They're now your peers,
right? Well, technically, yeah, I guess thinking like that, but I'm still a fanboy though, man. I still get excited for the fights and it takes me away from knowing that I'm technically involved, even though I haven't fought for him yet. I'm still like, somebody's gonna be watching me on the TV soon.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe BJ Penn will want his last fight to be
heavyweight.
I guess different weight class. A young and hungry up and coming tiger.
Wow.
Me.
They are saying that John Jones might move up to heavyweight.
Right, that's a possibility. Dude, the heavyweight division's stacked. It's going to be stacked if he comes up and like all these guys are coming up and like there's a few guys that are in the division now that are on their way up, and this is about the funnest the heavyweights division's ever been, really. Yeah.
Well, all right, right here, right now, John Jones versus Jeff Lights Out Hughes. Who wins?
Me, of course.
Of course, right there. I knew the answer already. I just wanted to hear it from you. Cool.
You need to start calling out Brock Lesnar.
That's what I told him. Yeah. That's what I told him.
Brock Lesnar's gonna be like, "Who's that?
Who?
Fuck! Fight me!
And maybe
Give
that'll be
me
more
money."
incentive. He'll be like, "Yeah, I'll take this guy out real quick," and then you kill him.
Then you got a name.
And then you take Sable
you got a name
from
for
him.
life. No. Wait a second.
Sorry, Rachel.
Sable's bringing that paycheck, maybe.
Oh boy, they got a lot of kids. Their kids' names.
I have no idea.
Wow, yeah.
Let's see.
Brock Lesnar will be
I think
calling you
I think one is Turk
That's
Lesnar.
a wrestling move, yeah.
And
I thought of Scrubs.
That's what I thought of too.
Yeah.
and Duke, I believe. Duke Lesnar.
That's a badass name.
That is
Duke
cool.
and Turk, I believe, are their
I think
two
Duke-
sons.
Both of those are cool. Actually.
Duke's a pretty badass name. I like it.
I mean, you have to be a fighter,
Your
a wrestler.
dad is fucking Brock Lesnar. You're going to be a fucking monster.
And have you seen his daughter?
No, I didn't know
I
that.
don't
yeah,
believe
yeah,
it's
She looks
Sable.
just like
She
him.
looks like a female Brock
Exactly.
Lesnar.
Yeah,
For
he
sure.
must have had her like in what when he was in the WWE the first time.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
She's like
she's older.
16.
She's
got to
older,
be like
yeah.
a teenager.
Oh.
Yeah, and she wrestles, I believe.
And actually, the picture I've seen of her, I probably saw a few years ago. She might even be older now.
Yeah, she might be graduated, and I
She
think,
might be training right now. For
and
Gonna
obviously
kick Cyborg's
Sable
ass.
has a couple kids, I think, with Mark Merrow,
Mark Merrow, yeah.
her previous marriage. So there's all kinds of kids there. So before you say the money with Sable, you realize all these kids that are.
Yeah.
And you'd have to talk to Brock, about.
Yeah, give me some child support.
Yeah.
That should be like Daddy's Home, that movie.
We went a little
Brock
deep
Le-
there.
Who's the dad of these kids? Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, Mark
What?
Jesus.
All right, here's what I'm really excited about with you, especially. How don't you do it? Top
All right.
5.
Jared probably won't enjoy it. We disagree on music all the time now.
Yeah, we might have to do this again with Jared. But we're going to go ahead and go with top 5 favorite bands, and we're going to name the band and a recommended album from that band, from said band. So, I don't know if you guys have got your wheels spinning earlier. And got
I did
some
a
in
little
mind.
bit, yeah.
I mean, for me, when I say it, I don't want to commit that these are my top
Right.
5. Maybe more.
They change out every
Yeah,
day.
they change
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Obviously, you guys know my favorite of all time, and that doesn't change. But the rest are kind of. So I'm my story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gotcha.
Well, my favorite band of all time, most people know, is the Smashing Pumpkins.
Smashing Pumpkins. Good choice.
Shame Billy Corgan just died yesterday.
Come on, man.
Wait, what happened?
Exactly.
No,
Didn't make headlines yet.
they tell me that every time. I used to get text messages in the middle of the night from Jeff or Jared that say, "Did you hear, man? I'm sorry to they'd try to make it so serious. I'm sorry to tell you this, but I just saw on here, Billy passed away." And
We need to call the Onion or somebody and get one of those hoax
Yeah.
things going.
I swear to God, I almost tried to make a hoax thing like that and make sure he saw it.
Yeah.
So it was what? It's true.
Call Snopes as well and be like, do not debunk this for 2 days.
Please.
Give
terrible.
us the weekend.
Speaking of Billy Corgan too, and on the wrestling subject, you guys know that he runs NWA.
Yeah,
he bought
NWA
it.
now.
That's crazy.
Cool. And
He's a weird guy, but
He is-
I
strange.
love Smashing Pumpkins. I love him.
well, I always hear such shitty. I always hear he's like an asshole or a dickhead. Or
I've
whatever.
heard different things. I think he's
I think he's misunderstood because I saw him
Yeah.
on Joe Rogan and I thought he was a pretty cool motherfucker. I thought he was pretty cool.
I've seen interviews where he just seems like the coolest dude ever, and then I've seen interviews where he seems a little the interviewer might rub him the wrong way or
I
something.
mean, everybody's a fucking asshole sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
He probably and he's just in the limelight most of the time.
Yeah.
We get it.
I guess my recommended album, I love them all, but my favorite is Siamese Dream.
Yeah,
So
that's
if
what I
you're
like
somebody that just listened to Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, because that's their biggest, listen to Siamese Dream.
They're both good, but
Both
Siamese Dream is a classic.
That's my favorite.
So is Melancholy. But
They all are.
That one is their most popular. That's the one I grew up on. There's 2
Melancholy.
discs.
Yeah. I even, a lot of people, an unknown album for them is right before they broke up the first time, when they still had all their original members. They did Machina, the Machines of God. And a lot of people were already done with the Smashing Pumpkins by the time that came out. I think it came out, I was a sophomore in high school.
Machine of the Machine. What is
Machina,
it? Machina.
the Machines of God.
Oh, okay.
And then they also had an album that they just released to friends and family. It was part 2. It was called Machina 2, The Friends and Enemies of Modern Rock, which was also good, but you can't find it. You have to download the stuff on. But
He can do that.
But
Gotcha.
Machina
I'm
has the original Machina, the Machine of God is it's still got the old Smashing Pumpkins sound to it, I think.
Okay.
So
So that's your number 1.
that's my number 1. It's a revolving door after this.
You guys want to cut it down to top 3?
Yeah, let's do the
All
top
right,
three.
what top 3? Just because.
I'll say I'm just gonna throw this band out there, and I'll probably take such crap for it because they're more of a band I listen to now, and I've shoved them down your throat before, and I shoved them down Jared's. And they're a unique taste, but a band, and they're not even together anymore. They just finished up. Let Live.
Let Live.
I've never heard of them.
LETLIVE. Period. It always has the punctuation at the end.
Kind of like Portugal, the man. It's always Portugal dot like period, then the man. Gotcha.
So
It's a thing.
I mean, that floats around my top 5 all the time, but they're honestly one of the bands I still listen to more than any other band right now. They only made 3 albums, and they called it quits. The lead singer has a new band now. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of it. Sorry, I can't plug you. Can't plug you, Jason. The Fever 333, I think, is the name of his new band. But recommended album, all 3 of them, man.
Yeah.
They're amazing. I don't even know how to compare them to anything. They're a little Rage Against the Machine-y. They're kind of all over the place. Like, he'll do everything from sing beautifully to kind of a little bit of flowing or rapping to screaming.
That just sounds like Rage.
Yeah, just he's all over the place, and he's known for his antics on stage. He'll do like backflips and stuff, and just jump all over the place and jump in the crowd, and that's, I mean, like I have a shirt and it says like backflipping conglomerate punk rock hair bleaching sluts or something.
Jesus.
Like
Wow.
I think they consider themselves a little punkish, but I mean, I don't know. They hit like every genre to me.
I know your third.
I don't know if I know my third.
Sublime.
Sublime's not bad. Oh, no, he doesn't like
I
it.
don't see.
He doesn't get it, he says. I don't get it.
The Sublime thing is like you and Jared never let it die, but like I have respect for Sublime. I've never gotten into that. The little bit of ska in it. That's never really been my style. I mean, I listened to a little bit of Less Than Jake when I was younger and stuff, but
That's definitely like one of my least favorite genres of music. But I still
yeah.
like Sublime, but I can't put on a Sublime album and listen to the whole thing.
it never was my thing. I get it. I guess I used to say I don't get it. I get it now.
I don't get it.
Totally get the stoner view of it.
Right.
It's nice to put on and like.
It's mellow. The mellow tracks are good.
Yeah.
The stuff that was on the radio was good. But.
I mean, yeah, people always love Santeria and all that, and I get it. I have fun with it, but I think in my 20s I was always like I was so angsty that like I didn't like happy music.
It was a little
like
too
that.
upbeat.
Yeah, it was too upbeat for me. I liked
like the same reason No Doubt couldn't make it until like '94. You know what I mean?
Right,
Because
they were
everybody,
very ska.
like that was their big, like their first album didn't do well at all because everybody wanted to hear like Nirvana and Pearl Jam,
Exactly.
where they were all singing about.
Then
like,
they did that Don't Speak or whatever.
Yeah, that album with Spiderwebs and Don't Speak and I'm Just a Girl that blew up.
That's a good album, though.
It is a
man.
good album.
I think that's their best album.
For sure,
It's
no
definitely their
doubt.
most commercial. It's like Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill.
think that's
Those
a
were
good
the
album.
albums of the 90s.
That's a good album too.
Alanis Morissette's underrated, man, and she's God. Don't forget that.
She is God and Dogma.
Third. Again, like I've always been a hardcore Hope's Fall fan. I don't know if you guys listen to them.
I remember the name.
Funeral for Friends up there.
That was mine. They're my
Still
top 3.
Pearl Jam's always going to be up there.
Yeah.
I'll throw something out that, since we're recommending things that people probably don't know about, everybody probably knows Kill Switch Engage.
Yeah.
But I'll say for my third band, it's a band called Times of Grace, because that's my favorite album of all time. They only have one album. They're finally supposed to make a second album. But what it is, it's the original lead singer from Kill Switch Engage, Jesse Leach, not Howard, the guy that belts out...
The black dude.
The black dude
Yeah.
that belts out like a
like
opera,
opera,
yeah. But Jesse Leach, because I always liked his lyrics and his emotion more. And then really the brains behind Killswitch Engage is Adam Dukowitz. He's my favorite musician.
He's probably one of the best musicians of our time.
Oh, he's my favorite guitar player. He's an amazing singer. He does backup on all the Killswitch albums. You always any backup you hear is him. He's got a beautiful voice.
And he sounds
voice.
better live than he does on
sounds better
album.
live. And so basically, he wrote the whole album for Times of Grace. It's his baby. And he said, I couldn't picture anybody else singing on this but Jesse, the original Killswitch singer. So it's just the two of them, the whole album. Adam does he does the drums he does the guitar, he does the bass, he does 50% of the vocals, the other 50% are Jesse. They split writing lyrics, and they're finally supposed to make a second album, but that first album is my favorite album of all time because it's Killswitch in a different light. They really do. They have an acoustic song on there. When you hear Killswitch do acoustic.
Well, I know I watched something. It was kind of like a making of. Wasn't End of Heartache. It was what is it? End of Heart.
End of Heartache.
Yeah, End of Heartache. It was the one after that. They were doing behind the scenes of it.
Gosh, man, I'm
had
so...
Rose of Sharon on it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Rose of Sharon, their third album. Yeah. As something about darkness.
As Daylight Dies.
Yeah.
So,
something about darkness. As Daylight Dies. Yeah, that's about it.
But like, I guess Adam is like to the other guys is like they understand he's the most necessary part of it, but he's the biggest pain in the ass. Like the one drummer was playing it, and then he's like, "No, I don't like it. Do it again." And he did it the same exact way, and he's like, "Yeah, that was better." And the drummer's just like, "That was the same fucking thing."
It was the same thing. Yeah, he's a perfectionist. He does all their albums now. He produces other bands, like a lot of other metal bands, like All That Remains, Unearth. He's the producer for them. He's just a genius, but yeah, he's very stubborn. He's kind of like Billy Corgan in that sense. Like,
so you like stubborn asshole musicians?
I guess I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not, but when they wrote Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, I guess like everything James wrote, you know, the Asian guitar player, like Billy wasn't happy with it, went and rewrote it himself.
No, let's do it like
I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard rumors. So
yeah,
so Times of Grace, look him up right now.
I remember. I'm not a huge. What is Jesse Leach? Is that how you say his
Jesse
name?
Leach.
Yeah, I was not a huge fan of him,
like
but I liked Times of Grace. I liked that album. It was good.
I never heard it. Shit.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up.
It's worth the listen.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm one of those people he was talking to.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna nail mine pretty quick because we're running low.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's all my fault.
I would say my first would definitely my favorite band of all time.
He had to look it up.
No, I'm just looking up albums.
Referencing, yeah.
Mine would probably be Incubus.
Okay.
Would be my
Good one.
Yeah, I saw them live, and like they're another band that I really appreciate. Bands that can, when you see live, they sound just as good or better.
Yeah.
And they blew me away with how good they sounded live. I'm like, I felt like I had headphones on. It was like beautiful. I would like a lot of their earlier stuff. Like Science was a great album. I would recommend that one to start because it was their their first kind of. They had Fungus Among Us before that, which wasn't very good.
No, Science was great though.
Science is awesome.
Cassette tape over there.
So that's how.
I still will listen to Science
that
and
in
the
an
other
abandoned
one
house.
that you're probably gonna say.
What's that?
I still will listen to Science and the other one that I think you're
Make Yourself.
Make Yourself.
Yeah, Make Yourself. To me is track. I think it's 12 tracks or maybe 13. Whatever it is, you can start at the beginning and listen all the way through and love every song.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my number one band. I would say Coheed and Cambria is my second. I know that's your.
Something tells me that's not the last time I'm gonna hear that name.
No, you're not. You're definitely
this dude
not.
I love him. I went to. We're going again.
Yeah, February 26th.
I saw that you guys got tickets. That's awesome.
Which is, thank you, by the way.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Christy, my sister.
And we were going to debate this on one of our future episodes.
We still will. Yeah.
Between the albums. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm between the first and second one.
Those are my two favorite. Those are my two favorite for sure.
I'm between that. I'm gonna wait to recommend one of those until I really break it down on the show with us.
Gotcha. But you're saying at least one of the first two.
One of the first two.
Yeah.
And but they're all good. They're all really good. Even the stuff that I'm not familiar with anymore is like their newer stuff. But like, I still like it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's hard for a band to do 5-6 albums and still have a good music. To me, like, it blows me.
Still be consistently good. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, man. Number 3 though. I want to say Tool.
You know, I'm glad you said that because I felt bad not even mentioning them.
I want to say Tool.
I feel like some bands are just obvious. Like they don't even need mention. They're up there in the upper echelon of music. You know,
like, anybody that listens to the kind of music that we all listen to had some moment with Tool.
Right.
No, for sure, for sure.
I don't really care about their newer stuff. I guess they haven't had much newer stuff, so it doesn't.
They have a new one coming out.
They do. Yeah, it's been coming out for like 5 years.
It's been coming out for a while.
That's true. Which might be a great thing, actually.
How do you say
Lateralis?
That was my first Tool album. My mom bought it for me. I loved it.
Nice.
But
it's a good start.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Undertow was good.
Undertow's great, and of course, Anima.
Anima's.
However you pronounce it.
I think it's Anima. Is the one I would recommend if you want. That's where you're going to listen to most of their hits. Probably, if I had to say one album, it'd be that one. It's probably their most famous album.
H46 and 2, the song Anima.
Yeah, I love 46 and 2. One thing, there's a college for like not a college, but a school for like talented music kids. And these kids play 46 and 2, and it is beautiful.
I think I've seen that before.
I posted it to the old book face before.
The old book face. It is beautiful. I played it. I played it for all the guys I work with, and they're like, "Wow, that's really good." And these kids are like 10, 11, 12 years old. But yeah, those are my 3. Those are my 3 go-tos, anyways.
Those are
some big names.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you guys can think of my top 2 already. Like, I'll do it this way. This is cheating a little bit, but since they're so neck and neck, I'm going to make Pearl Jam and Coheed my number 1.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right? And for obvious reasons. Anybody that listens to this show knows why I love both. When it comes to Pearl Jam, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I'm pretty damn sure. I love their first 2 albums for sure, but when it comes to I don't even know. I love Yield. People hate on me for loving that album, but I love Yield so much. I don't know why. Maybe it was the right time in my life for that album to come out, and it resonated with me. Yeah. And even though on the Ohio WrestleCast episode that Evan was there for, I ended up getting a higher vote for 10 over Versus. I would probably recommend Versus as a first listen.
I'm a 10 guy.
Not only that, but most people...
Versus.
Most people would probably know stuff off 10 without even really like giving them a chance.
They heard that on the radio.
Exactly.
Because there's still songs that are played on the radio.
Release sells it for me, the last track.
But Versus probably has like the best range of how good they can be.
Yeah.
I mean, Rearview Mirror alone. Just listen to Rearview Mirror. You know what I mean? If I have to recommend one song, Rearview Mirror or the acoustic version of Black.
Okay.
But
Black is beautiful.
And for Coheed, since you went ahead and said the first 2 albums, because this is a toss-up for me too, I'm going to go ahead and recommend Good Apollo 1.
You love that too.
Which is their 3rd album, and is probably the best representation. Like, that is the album that set Coheed in motion for what Coheed would end up being for the rest of their career. Like, that was the formula. Like, they started that formula with their 2nd album, Keeping Secrets.
Right.
And then they perfected that formula with Good Apollo 1.
They got better. Yeah, musically they got better.
Yeah, like I mean, like the songwriting isn't as good as it used to be, obviously, but no band is, you know. Right. But yeah, I'll go with Good Apollo for that.
What's that?
Why is that?
I think didn't we? I think maybe me and you talked about it.
I think I narrowed it down. First album for sure. That's like their whole life of writing.
Exactly.
It's probably been rewritten a few times.
Your whole life
played it 1,000 times, and they've mastered it. It's the best version of those songs it's ever going to be. 2nd album, not quite so much, but they've probably been writing those songs since they have been recording the 1st album. You know what I mean?
Now they know some things from playing with other bands and being in the studio with professionals.
Exactly. Like, and they haven't really felt themselves out yet. The 1st album was an experiment, essentially.
Right.
After that, they're like, this is what we are now. Like, it's a different.
I think
thing.
I think it has a lot to do with when you're sleeping on a mattress on your buddy's floor and you're touring in a van with 5 other guys, man, you're going to be a little bit more passionate about making whatever you have work.
For sure.
And you're going to have more more emotion into something rather than, okay, we have a tour bus, we live in a giant house, and like it's harder to write shit from the heart when everything's everything's looking good in life.
Corporate, and then you got people pushing it. We have a deadline now.
Yeah,
hard times, man. As Dusty Rhodes would say, hard times.
Hard times.
Hard times, man. And like, there's certain people that can't write when they're happy. Like people can't write when they're happy.
Yeah.
And or their material just isn't as good when they're happy. And then that's the way it is. Sometimes you make it, you're happier, you're married, you have kids. Like, things are different now.
Right. Things are different, yeah. That's a perfect way to say it.
Suffers,
Yeah. And then I guess to move on, my number 2, which is usually my number 3, but since they've moved up since the co-favorites, a lot of people don't talk about them. Most of the people I bring them up to don't even know them. But when I play them for them, like, oh, I've never heard anything like this. But Horse the Band.
I know Horse the Band. Just a little bit, though.
Love Horse the Band. Love the guys in the band. They're all extremely smart. Their lyrical content is underrated. They're one of the most intelligent bands I've probably ever heard lyrically. Like, they'll go from singing, like, they start out singing about, like, video game characters and shit. And, like, nowadays, you listen to their more recent albums, it's all, like, existentialist, like, meaningful shit. All wrapped up in like a Nintendo Core package, which is what people call them, even though they hate being called that, I guess.
Nintendo Core. I've heard of that genre, and I've heard of Horse the Band, but I've never actually listened to them.
Yeah, I only know like a handful of songs.
Best way to describe them, they're just a metal band, and then like the main guy in the band is a keyboardist, and everything sounds like mid-eye sound, so it all sounds like
8-bit,
Nintendo soundtrack stuff, which is awesome, especially mixed with like metal. And then the singer guy, he sings a little bit more nowadays, but he just screams over it, and it's not for everybody. But I fucking love that band so much.
I'm gonna check them out today.
Yeah, I definitely, now that you mentioned
recommended albums. Most people would probably go back to their back catalog, but I think as of today, and they haven't released a new album in like 8 years. But they're still together. They still tour and shit. And they're actually from the town I was born, Anaheim, California. But I would probably recommend, when it comes down to it, a newer album, which isn't their most recent, but their second to most recent. It was called A Natural Death, which is really good. And if you want to go back and check out some earlier stuff, The Mechanical Hand, I think, is their third album. Great album as well.
I'm gonna check all these out.
But nowadays,
I like Nintendo.
Just like most bands, like no band is the same. They've definitely evolved over time. Like they're more melodic. The screamer guy who used to only scream sings a little bit too now. Like
I knew they were heavier because Gabe loved them and he showed them a little bit to me back in the day.
Horse the Band, definitely recommend Horse the Band. And number 3, man.
Not the animal.
Number 3. Horse the Band, not the animal, and not Band of Horses either.
That is also a Band of Horses.
Is it really?
Yeah, and like because Horse the Band isn't like hugely popular. You type in Horse the Band, half the fucking search shit will be Band of Horses.
Because they've gotten more commercialized.
Yeah, well they're pretty popular too. They were all over the radio and shit. But and number 3, didn't even think about because Horse the Band is usually at number 3. I'll probably have to say number 3 would be Foxy Shazam. Not sure if anybody's heard of them.
Nope, never heard of them.
I don't think I have.
People who listen to like the top 40 and shit will probably know their singer because he was in a Macklemore song recently.
Okay.
He was Downtown. You guys heard that song?
I'm sure I have.
He's the best part of that song. He's the chorus. Guy reminds a lot of people compare him to like Michael Jackson or Freddie Mercury. Dude, there's nobody quite like. They're from Cincinnati too. They're unbelievable. There's no band like them. Best way I could describe them is like a modern day Queen, essentially, mixed with maybe a little bit of Michael Jackson.
I want to hear that.
But if you've heard that song Downtown by Macklemore, he's the guy singing the chorus, and
I try to
he's the
avoid
best
Macklemore.
part of that song.
Yeah, I don't know if
Dude,
I know it because I don't listen.
I never heard a Macklemore song. That's the only one I've heard, and it was purely because he was in it.
I don't know most popular music.
That Thrift Shop song, I was done with them after that. I was
so,
like, ugh.
Yeah. But no, Downtown is a decent song purely because Eric Nally, the singer of Foxy Shazam, is in
I'm
it.
definitely going to check out both those.
And
Foxy Shazam.
they're
That's a
one of those
great name.
bands. They started out much heavier, like their first album, much heavier album. And as time went on, they're one of those bands that kind of reinvent themselves with every album. But there was a consistent like 2-album arc there where they were very much like Queen, and even the way the guy dresses and cuts his hair and shit, he was very Freddie Mercury-esque. Like you could tell he was channeling Freddie Mercury for that shit.
Okay.
And then their last album, which was called Gonzo, I believe, they basically went like straight 80s. Like they look like an 80s band, like Flock of
Glam rock?
Seagulls or shit. Kind of. I mean, they're still the same band, and they're still genuinely good, but like just the way, like especially the singer guy reinvents himself almost every
That's like
single
their
album.
gimmick now is 80s.
Kinda,
Yeah.
kinda, but they're just genuinely good, and the dude's got a voice like no other, you know. But and I guess when it comes to recommended album, if you want to go way back, listen to, I believe it's called Introducing Foxy Shazam. Got a song called Dangerous Man. There's a music video for it.
Foxy Shazam.
That was when they were going to less heavy and more just like melodic hard rock style, and then for a more recent venture into them, I'd probably recommend either, what the fuck was the name of that band or that album? I can't remember. Might have just been called Foxy Shazam. Fuck, I can't remember.
I want to check him out for sure. That name.
Foxy Shazam, yeah, like it's a hell
Sounds
of a
like
name.
a character off of like F is for Family or something. Or like
A little
Aqua
bit.
Teen Hunger Force or something like that's Foxy Shazam right there.
They're a band like no other. They're one of those best bands out there today on my list for sure. Just check out anything
We
from
just all
Foxy.
gave each other homework.
Yeah.
We really did. Like we're all gonna have jam sessions when we get home. But
Besides me, I was pretty basic, but
Yeah,
those
way to stay in the box.
my bad.
I kind of, that was my thing too. Is like I like a lot of like Pearl Jam and bands that are like super famous. But I thought maybe since we were recommending, I don't know.
I have a bad. I used to be way more like I was the first person. I don't know about between me and you, but I was the first person to find Funeral for a Friend. Like I remember recommending them to
Jared didn't
Jared.
like him at
He
first.
didn't like him at first. He's like, I remember sitting at Taco Bell waiting for him to close. He's like, I don't really like it. And then I don't know, maybe a week later, he's like, man, these guys are good. I think almost he took credit for it. And I was like, wait a minute, you
Yeah.
motherfucker. I was the one that told you to listen to him.
'Cause I remember when I got into them, they kind of been around. I knew who they were, and when I got into them, Jared was like, "Oh yeah, Funeral for a Friend. Yeah, I've been listening to them."
Yeah. We saw him at the 07 Warped Tour.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You were there.
07?
Yeah, when it
Oh,
rained.
yeah. Oh, they were already one of my favorite
Yeah,
bands there.
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah. That's the only time I actually saw Coheed.
Yeah, that's
They
the
were-
first time I saw Coheed.
It was
Yeah,
awesome because they were the first band to play after the huge rainstorm.
Yeah.
They said it was
Gotcha.
one of the top 3 storms in the
Warped Tour
Tour's
history. Yeah.
wow.
We all got we didn't get refunded. We got the opportunity to go to any other Warped Tour.
They said if you keep your
America.
ticket stub, even though it's probably
was like-
soaking wet, and,
yeah,
Yeah.
and you can go to any of the rest of the shows. There were only a few shows left. I ended up giving my stub to somebody, and he went to the Pennsylvania show. And I was like, just bring me my ticket stub back because I keep all my ticket stubs. And he's like, they took it, but I have the Pennsylvania one. He gave it to me. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I have a testimonial for Foxy Shazam, just since you brought up
Testimonial?
Jared Griffiths, I'm actually the one who introduced him to Foxy Shazam, and I didn't even know that until we started doing Ohio WrestleCast. The first time he came over, we were just out there drinking on the porch or something, and we were talking about music. He's like, you're actually the one who introduced me to Foxy Shazam, and they are awesome. So like he likes them, and he liked it. I assume he
If
liked
he
them right
likes
off the
them,
rip.
then, yeah.
But they're like a modern day Queen. Essentially, is the best way I could describe. Mixed with a little Michael Jackson.
Sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty rad.
Pretty rad
That's
for
a rad
sure.
hoodie you got there. You remember that?
Pretty rad,
No.
Dad.
That Taproot hoodie I had.
Oh.
We were in the exchange, and that guy kept going,
But
man, that's
yeah.
a rad hoodie. You and Josh were making fun of him.
Well, fellas, we are almost at another hour here. We
Jeez.
are
Way to
just
cut
getting
it
better
off.
and better at
Yeah.
this shit. Probably a good point to call it an episode, I would think.
Yeah, my ass has to get home.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I'd love to come back and down the road. Maybe
You will definitely be another guest.
For
another
sure.
5 or
Everything.
6, there's 10 episodes down the road.
We're gonna have to get progress reports, so you gotta
Oh,
be
no.
back. So
I'll keep you in order. Don't you worry.
Like I said, to finish that up, I am still beginning this journey, so I'm in no means there yet. So
right, so it's a lifetime journey, man.
A lifetime thing, and like I said, I'm not saying I'm never gonna drink again because I could drink 10 years from now or tomorrow. But
well, I want to say this, and I don't mean to be cheesy or anything, but I am just as proud that I'm sure you were of me getting that contract as I'm that proud of you and taking these steps in your life because this is what you needed. You know what I mean? Right. Like I know you always say how proud of you but like but like it goes both ways, man. I'm very proud of that you got a grip on this shit right now, and I think it's gonna. There's only two ways this is gonna end, and that's you figuring this shit out and living with it, or the other alternate, which is not what any of us want.
Yeah,
living under a bridge or dying.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm proud of you, and I'm happy you came on and shared your story with everybody. So
for sure, ditto to all that, man.
Yeah. Appreciate the outlet, guys.
And you're always welcome here on the podcast, sir. I guess with that said, we'll get into a little housekeeping. Matt Archer Media is on Facebook, facebook.com/Matt Archer Media. That's where you can go to see everything that Matt Archer Media does. We recently just did a JAMUP Facebook page, so go ahead and
please like it,
share, subscribe, watch everything, give us hearts on shit, and that's facebook.com/JAMUP podcast, because apparently facebook.com/JAMUP's already taken by a goddamn guitar pedal or something. And so fuck you guys, unless you want to sponsor us. Go ahead.
Sponsor us. Fuck you.
It's fate, right? T-shirts available at mattarcher.threadless.com. You'd think I'd know all this shit by heart by now.
You shouldn't even need this.
Yeah, anymore. It's not even on there.
Oh.
But audio podcasts are available now on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Stitcher Radio, all that good shit. Pretty much anywhere you can find it. If it's not, let us know, and I'll figure out how to put it on there. For the audio listeners, youtube.com/Matt Archer Media. You can watch the video versions of this. You can see our pretty faces. You can see what a recovering alcoholic looks like and what a MMA superstar looks like.
How do you not want to see that smile?
And exactly. Just watch purely for that. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'm blowing it. We're a garbage truck on fire, but we love it.
We have fun doing it.
And I guess with that said, Jeff knows the drill. Until next time,
Hogan must pose.